Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of the day. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, as always, is my co host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Oh, it's going just fine. Glad to be here tonight. Price, I have no idea what we're going to talk about tonight. It has been such a quiet weekend.
Slow news week.
Slow news. I don't even know, man. Like review old episodes of Star Trek or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I already see that somebody, it's funny because I see a comment here where somebody said it's hardly a war because I wrote there was a war with Iran. I didn't really know how to describe it. The thoughts that whatever you said here in your message, that it's almost like just a military operation. I kind of thought of that while writing that and, describing the thumbnail. I didn't know, I guess like war sounds more interesting.
Dramatic, perhaps.
Dramatic, yeah.
But I'll tell you this. Yeah, if this is a war, it's pretty damned one-sided.
It is.
Yes, I will say off the bat, yes, we did lose some service members. It sounds like the majority of those service members were U.S. Army Reserve, and they were in at a military base in Kuwait that was struck by a missile that was sent out. Was not intercepted as either a missile or some kind of drone. I don't believe they've said specifically, but absolutely, the loss of life is sad, and not making light at all of saying, it's not a war, it's a skirmish, whatever. Not making light at all of the service members whose lives were lost. That is sad, and every last one of them is a hero. And I hope they all get the honor and the care that they and their families deserve in this time. So, just saying that that is unfortunate. But it's also, at the same time, a lot of people are saying, that there's blood on Trump's hands or whatever. I got to be honest. If Israel had gone forward with this attack on their own without any support from the United States, Iran would have done the same thing. They would have sent out the same missiles. They would have sent out the same interceptors. They would have sent out the same drones, all of this stuff. Yes, I understand it. It looks like, we were the aggressors and whatever. I understand some of the people's arguments, but at the same time, that blood is not on Trump's hands. I'm sorry that you can't blame the commander in chief for every loss of life on the ground.
I'm going to also give, this is my opinion here. A lot of times when there's some kind of action, especially when on the world stage, it has to be presented a certain way. Now, in some cases, maybe it's favorable to the U.S. to make it seem like maybe they weren't that excited to do it, but they ended up doing it. In some cases, it may be the opposite. I think that, in this instance, it was easier to try to explain it the way they explained it. I think that nothing here is a coincidence. If you really think about everything, if you go back to even the June or whatever it was, there were talks between Trump's people and them, and they were talking about something, and then the talks there was something wrong with the talks in June. The next thing you know, at the time, Israel was the one that, started the attack, but then, the U.S. is the one that did the thing with that midnight hammer and all that stuff. I understand that the optics were, they started, so we'll just help them finish the job or whatever it is. I suspect that behind closed doors, perhaps the way decisions are made and even conversations that are had are different than what the public knows. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
so,
and they've gone back. There have been different stories going back and forth about the Israel, U.S., who was leading, who was following, whether we were pressured into it by Israel, whether Israel was pressured into it by the U.S. I got to be honest. I think it was a joint operation. I think Israel said, look, we've got a really good chance of getting in there and taking these things out. We've got a plan. Here's that plan. And then most likely U.S. military and, diplomats and stuff stepped in and said, okay, we're talking to them about this and whatever. But if these talks don't go well, green light. two thumbs up, and we're gonna be right there with you to make this happen, because there is one very very simple reality here, that anyone who tries to say, we're the aggressors, blah 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 blah, blah whatever. Iran has been the number one state sponsor of terror attacks in every area of the world, and they have been considered to be the forerunner, the leader in funding these attacks since 1984.
Yeah,
This is not a fight that started yesterday or the year before or the year before that or even 10 years ago. This has been happening for decades, and they are responsible for countless numbers of Americans who have died on the battlefield from IEDs and any number of other improvised weapons, as well as other types of weaponry that was supplied to militias and things inside of other countries like Afghanistan, like Iraq, and so on. It is silly to say that it was unprovoked. I'm sorry, it was not.
I'm seeing this in a much more simple way. This is just my opinion. He was trying to do some talks with them. He wanted certain things with the nuclear thing that they wouldn't agree to. I think that really annoyed him. And meanwhile, probably from his own intelligence and Israeli intelligence and all these people, in spite of what some of these weirdos online like to present, they're all very coordinated and working together. There seemed to be an opportunity. I bet you that somebody just said, "Listen, we know where they're all gathering. We can take out him and 50 of his top people." And I think that alone probably
Yeah.
created a situation here that,
Yeah, and more than that, they also had significant intelligence inside of Iran, not just about where some of the targets were, but also about the various different military systems that they use to secure those areas, the air defense systems, the interceptors, some of the other material that they had on the ground, including different missile systems and so on. And the plan that they had was executed flawlessly. If you watch some of the videos about exactly how this was handled, they moved in basically overwhelming all of their radar and air defense systems, so that they could get the different planes and all of the ordnance that they were carrying into the area with little or no resistance whatsoever. They were able to move from there to rapidly degrading their ability to intercept anything in the air. Within the first 12 hours, they essentially had total air dominance over the important spaces in Iran. They were able to move in and take control of this space, and then they are able to act with impunity. They can go wherever they want. Yes, Iran did start lashing out, fascinatingly enough, not just at American targets, started lashing out at other majority Muslim nations in the area, nations that basically have nothing to do with the conflict, attacking hotels and buildings and stuff, airports in countries that were not a part of this fight. Just lashing out anywhere they could, and it pissed off a lot of people in the area who are now, at least according to the president and some other officials in our administration here, now supporting the U.S. because they're pissed.
I'll tell you what, in a way also, it also highlights, people are like, "Oh, what are you so worried about? So what if they have missiles?" Well, look, somebody annoyed them, and now they send just indiscriminately just send missiles all over the place. And you were talking about service members. There have been people in a number of countries, just civilians, that have been hit by these missiles. So
absolutely,
they simply don't care. They don't care who you are, what you do. They have some missiles. They want to throw them around. And also, I think that a lot of people don't realize this. Every country, they have something they're good at doing. You know what I mean? I guess, like, Switzerland, they're good at like making chocolate or something, uh,
Yeah.
France, they make baguettes and stuff. Iran, the thing that they're in, Japan have like technology, cars, I don't know what. You look at Iran, all they know how to do when it comes to like manufacturing, their entire everything, all the resources, all they've been doing for decades is missiles and bombs, like missiles and missiles and missiles. That's all they do. All they do is like missiles, and their dream was that they wanted like nuclear missiles, and all they do is missiles. And they hate they hate the West, they hate America, they hate Israel, they hate everything. Like it's just bizarre, you know what I mean? It's like they've contributed to nothing. Forget about all their fanatic and all the dictatorship or whatever. They've contributed not even one good thing to this world, and all they do is make these missiles. They probably have maybe like 10,000 missiles, if not more. The only
Yeah.
thing now that I think that the U.S. forces in Israel are trying to do, I think they're trying to take out as many of their launchers, because
Yes.
they sure have a lot of missiles. That's all they do. I mean,
Yes.
imagine these weirdos sitting all day and all night, obsessed with making missiles for decades.
Yeah, and they building up these ballistic missiles, building up these practical, conventional weapons on their borders. Some of them, made inside of Iran. Many more purchased from countries like Russia. The purpose of all of that is to prevent or deter anyone from doing exactly what we did in coming in and stopping them from continuing to enrich uranium and create a nuclear weapon. That's the whole point. They want to be able to use those weapons to extend their power out, attack whoever they want, whenever they want, but they also want to be able to use it to defend themselves so we couldn't come in and stop them from creating a nuclear weapon. And of course, that is now done. As well as more than a few, beard people, whatever you want to call them, who were in charge of the government running Iran. So far, they've said at a minimum 50 of the top leadership within Iran is now gone. Their facilities are rubble. Many of the air defense systems throughout the country have been either completely destroyed or rendered inoperative by destroying radar installations and so on. They are now, as you said, working to get rid of the missile launchers, right? Get rid of the different launchers and get rid of the different facilities that house the drones. And it sounds like now, over the last few days, the focus has really been to basically eliminate any opportunity they had to counter any planes, bombers, anything coming into the area. And now they are going to be, at least according to Rubio, according to Trump, they're going to be intensifying their bombing campaign over the next couple of days. And it's going to be focused entirely on command and control and those missile sites. So they are going to be moving throughout the country, taking out as many of their ballistic missiles as they can and eliminating all of the all the ability of that country to project its power anywhere. And it sounds like now, they're starting to talk about, who's gonna run the country next, right? Who do we think we could work with? I don't think that the current administration that is running Iran, the people that are there, the regime that is running that country, and the people that they're trying to put in place are going to be able to continue to operate. There's been a lot of question about, are the people in Iran going to go out and take their country back? Well, right now, if you listen to Trump, you listen to some of the other the diplomats who are talking about the area, essentially they're telling them, no, don't go out. Don't go storming government facilities. Don't go fight back. We're not done. Those government facilities could be vaporized tomorrow. So don't just stay home. Stay home, right? We'll let you know when when it's okay to go outside and go take these, SOPs out and take your government back. But there's a lot of people within the country. It's kind of funny because I did see something earlier today, Price. A post, somebody was showing videos of all the bombings, going on in like Tehran, right? People
Right.
people filming it from their balcony in their like apartment building. And what you think is like, well, these people, what they want us to believe, some like in the media want us to believe, is that these people are terrified. We're terrorizing them by bombing their country, and they don't know what to do with themselves because we're attacking the Iranian people. And if you watch the video and you listen, they're watching the explosions in the distance. They know what's being blown up, the government buildings that are being vaporized, and they are laughing. They are cheering for these explosions.
Of course. I
They
mean,
are in
they're-
no way being terrorized by what we're doing. In fact, they are cheering it on, and it's rather amusing.
well, this is another thing that I think that a lot of these kind of they're this whole situation has caused a real kind of ruffled a lot of feathers and caused a lot of people to show sort of their true colors, if you want to call it. You see the Democrats that they really want to say this is bad. They just, especially all those kind of CNNs, whatever. They all want to say this is bad, but they don't know how to quite push this narrative. I mean, this was a very evil regime that was cruel to women and children and people and its own citizens, and it was killing them. Theoretically, the Democrats that are pretending to virtue signal all the time, they should have been pleased with these developments. But because it's Trump doing it, and also because they, other weird agendas that they peddle these days, it's like they don't want to talk about any of that. And I think that it's the ultimate hypocrisy. For me, they've discredited themselves on everything, considering all the wokeness and bullshit that we got, like from, I want to say the far left, but I think that the left has just become the far left over the past 5-10 years. The fact that something like this happened and all they do is whine, it's just, what are they whining about? Are they sad about the Ayatollah? You know what I mean? Are they going to miss him? There's certain things that I don't quite understand.
Yeah.
And then you have, on the other hand, you have these kind of quote unquote influencers online. Uh, I use that word very generously. That they're now also like sad. That more like the right, quote unquote, right leaning kind of influencers, that they're very sad that the Ayatollah is gone now too. It's like, what are you guys sad about? You know what I
Oh,
mean?
well, it's horseshoe theory, buddy. I think you know what that is, right? The
Uh,
horseshoe theory. So
Explain it.
if you look at the far right and the far left, then it is
Yes.
not a spectrum that is a flat line. It is in fact a horseshoe, and the far left and the far right at the very ends of that horseshoe are actually a lot closer to each other than they are to the center. So the people who are way on the far right, the people who are way on the far left have an awful lot in common, including their the desires for control and power and centralizing that authority and love for things like authoritarianism and communist states and stuff like that take power away from average people and instead give it to power mongers and elites and so on. There's a lot of that, and you can see it now. Especially you've got the nuts like the crybaby, who's so big on Rumble. I don't even want to say his name.
Yeah, no, I know him.
Where he's out there like, don't vote Republican, vote Democrat this time around, and it's like,
he's
yeah,
the
shut up, you twit.
People forget that he was like telling people they have to vote for Kamala. I could never take that guy seriously, really. And then, but it's not only that. That obviously is a very kind of like, that one. I've never really thought much of him. I know that he has like his following. I guess anybody can create some kind of following with strange views. I can't I can't dismiss the fact that there's people that like hearing what he has to say. Personally, I don't. but what I'll say is that the ones that are, I was telling you this the other day, not all the comments that are criticizing this I think are not legitimate. Meaning, I saw what Matt Walsh said, and I don't think that Matt Walsh was coming from a bad place. I didn't necessarily agree with what Matt Walsh
No.
was saying, but Matt Walsh for me is, at least until now, maybe if tomorrow he goes full whatever, like that guy that you just mentioned, I'll think differently of him. But I'm just saying that until today, I think that Matt Walsh has been pretty measured in his, critique. And there's been stuff that he did that I liked. I liked the movie about racism that he did. I liked the movie, the woman one. I thought that those were very kind of important movies that shed light on some interesting issues, and I thought that they were pretty well done. So it's not like I have no respect for the guy, but sometimes a person, even if I don't completely dislike him, like, he could still come up with something that I don't agree with. At the same time, his thoughts were like, well, we're doing this, but what's the end game? What are we going to do now? What's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
what's the point? How are we going to achieve it? These aren't the worst things that somebody can ask. He's allowed to ask that. I personally, I don't know that I necessarily agree with everything he said, but I didn't think that his criticism was coming from a bad place. It's not like, when I think of people like Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, that's like,
Ugh.
those guys are, to me, they're disingenuous. The thing with Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, that at some point they were the legacy media. I don't know if
Mhm.
you know this. They were part of the legacy media,
They
and
absolutely were. Yeah.
and they found themselves outside of Fox News. Now, Tucker Carlson, you can look a few years back, and everything that he's saying now, you can find videos that he's saying the exact opposite. Megyn Kelly, as much as like half a year ago, you can see her say the opposite of what she's saying now, and there is a reason for it. And this is the part that, like, in the heat of people like listening to all these, like, political podcasters and eating up every single word and things they have to say, from the more nutty ones like the one you mentioned, and another female nutty one, which that one, those guys I don't even know what to say to you about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how somebody listens to them and really takes that kind of stuff seriously, but I can't tell people what to listen to. When it comes to like Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson, I would say that for them, for me at least, they're a much bigger disappointment, because they were at some point like more kind of like, mainstream or whatever, and now they shifted. They just went 180 on their views. And the reason why I believe that they went on 180 on their views is because in the past they used to have these cushy jobs where the network would pay them like $20 million a year, right?
So, yeah. Of
They
course.
they would get paid a lot of money a year, right? They
Yeah.
they would make they would have a certain lifestyle. They paid them like $20 million a year. Suddenly they were not in those circles. They went on their own, and in a landscape that's filled with a lot of people, growing with the, younger and newer people and things like that. If they want to keep that lifestyle, so how are they going to continue to make $20 million a year? It's nice to post something on Twitter. It's nice to post something on YouTube. I can tell you that with their numbers, they're probably not making, at least I don't think they're making $20 million a year. So the
Man,
question
who
is,
who knows? Yeah.
I mean, maybe they are. I don't know. I haven't looked at their like numbers recently, but I don't know that their YouTube or their whatever is giving them $20 million a year. The question is, how do they make up those funds? How do they continue to live the lifestyle? And then at the end of the day, I think there's no other way to look at it, that there are people paying them money to say certain agendas that they want them to say. I don't have another explanation for it. It's one thing if they had been consistent on their views like their whole careers, and then they were consistent now, which I think that Matt Walsh is pretty consistent in the things that he says, as opposed to these two guys, which they're not consistent at all. They suddenly went like the other way around. It looks like somebody gave them a check and now they're saying something else. And I don't know. Some people, you can like them, you cannot like them. Tucker Carlson for me was always kind of a toss away. Like I've always considered him kind of a bit Weasley. It's not that like I didn't hate him before. I just thought he was kind of a weasel, but I didn't really think much of him one way or another. Now he's more of like a malicious weasel, in my opinion. Megyn Kelly, I'm more sorry about. I thought that she was more pleasant. I mean, she was more kind of reasonable and pleasant for many years, and now she's just desperately trying to latch on to that wave of whatever it is. And again, I don't see these people's finances, but if I saw their finances and it turned out that they're being financed from very strange places, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if they were being supported by the mullahs themselves in one way or
Well,
another.
based on how sad some of these people are that the mullahs aren't there, you'd think that that's where the money came from, because there's some people that
Yeah,
seem super sad. It's like, okay, I don't care. You do like Trump, you don't like Trump, you like the war, you don't like the war, you wanted the attack, you don't want the attack. That's all fine. People like weeping for the mullahs is a strange, you know, I don't know, was it like the Washington Post where somebody was saying that, like, that Khamenei was like
yeah,
Santa
Khomeini.
or
Yeah.
something. He had a nice beard and he was a swell guy. I don't remember
Oh
what I was
yeah.
reading. I'm like, what
Oh
is
yeah.
wrong with you
The New
people?
York Times obituary was something else. Yeah. Like, oh, this. I mean, they practically. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had posted some picture with him, like, with bouncing kids on his lap or something like that. But it was absurd how they were basically just giving him a glow up. After, like, he's been the leader of a country that's been a massive sponsor of terror all around the world for decades. And what I love is now there's there are plenty of people on social media who are trying to make it sound as though getting rid of him was bad, and that you shouldn't have done it, whatever. And then there's a bunch of people posting a lot of things. Specifically, I've seen a number of people who have been posting stuff from the laws of Iran that were supported by Khomeini and his his government, and talking about stuff like Khomeini was okay with marrying children, marrying off daughters who were 9 years old.
Oh, there was a lot of stuff like that. They had like
And
a lot of serving grape juice. They like serving grape juice to
yes,
people.
yeah, many of those things. And many people stepping in and making sure that people are reminded of some of the different things that have that have happened over recent years. There was one here. I bet I can find it in my pretty quickly here. I can share this. This was the presentation mode there, so we can share it.
Oh, okay. I did presentation mode, but it didn't work.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
And away goes the price. He'll be right back. It's good to see all of you out there in the chat today. So, hey there, Mark D. Good to see you, buddy. Sorry, I haven't gotten to join on the show on Sundays recently. My schedule's changed, and I'm very, very busy on early on Monday mornings most of the time. So staying up late on a Sunday doesn't work out as well as it used to. One of these days. Let's see. So this was this was a this is a post here from Honey. I don't know. It says, see that destroyed building in Tehran, Faraja. Iran's morality police headquarters. Masa Amini was killed there. I was taken there for showing hair. She showed her hair. She was taken here. The terror, humiliation, unforgettable. Millions of Iranian women know this fear. Now it's rubble, not destruction, justice. Yeah. So this is again, opinions I have frequently been seeing posted from people who are Iranian born. And talking about how, this is all fine. In fact, better than fine. I'm glad to have seen this place, destroyed, burned to the ground, and may it never be rebuilt. That kind, those types of things. That this is, this was a long for many of these Iranians. This feels like it's been a long time coming. So,
yeah, and the thing is that I see all these kind of whether it's Democrats or whatever it is, some of those like weirdo Republicans that have their own strange agendas. They're all like, "Oh, like this is not good. Like he didn't talk to Congress. He didn't do this. He didn't do that." I don't see him doing anything differently than, let's say, Obama did. And well, Obama, when it came to Iran, I don't think he handled that well at all. But I'm saying, like, he went and dropped a bunch of bombs on a bunch of country. Obama, nobody ever said a word.
Oh yeah, of course. And you know what else Obama dropped?
What?
Billions of dollars in cash handed over to Iran.
Yeah, and
He
it
just
didn't help
handed
at
them
all.
billions of dollars in cash. Literally, pallets of actual cold, hard cash. Not bank transfers, not relief and sanctions. No, they just gave them money.
All secretly, really quietly, like to give them, and only later when it was kind of they called upon him and they said, "Well, yeah, well, why'd you give all this money?" They're like, "No, we unfroze their money from 1979." I don't know what stories they were telling. What do you mean you unfroze their money and you gave them cash from 1979? What are you talking about? Why are you giving them money at all?
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to, I don't want to go as far as to say that like he maliciously did it, but man, was that dumb. For all of his like fancy speeches and whatever, giving those guys all those billions of dollars was dumb, and Biden stepping in and giving them more billions of dollars was also dumb. And obviously, they didn't. They're like, oh, like they're going to use it to like better their people and like cause like positive change. What positive change and good things for their people did they do with all this money? Nothing. All they did was what they love to do: missiles and more crazy missile and missile stuff. That's all they care about.
They
And
just want their arms. Yeah.
Mark D with the C says we can blame Jimmy Carter for Iran, possibly the biggest foreign policy mistake in the last 50 years. You know, on the one hand, I don't want to be mean. Like, supposedly, you're not to speak ill of like a person that's like no longer with us, and he passed away in recent years or whatever it is. But I will say this: I agree. Jimmy Carter was like really not a good president. I don't know that
He was a disaster.
he was a disaster.
It really he was. And it's only been compounded over many years since since he was there, not just in his foreign policy but also things he did here in the US, including the Department of Education. So yeah, it's everything that's happened. Many of the things that happened over the last 40 years have been due to repercussions from stuff that happened with Carter.
Absolutely. I mean, people were always like, "Well, he was such a good family man." Listen, maybe he was a good family man. I don't know. Oh,
Yeah,
he really loved helping people. Maybe he did.
maybe.
As
Yeah.
far as presidents go, at least in my opinion, if there was like a competition for worst president ever, he would be a contender.
Yeah. No, again, like you said, you know what? Yeah, he was a generous guy, went out and worked with Habitat for Humanity, and he did all these other things, whatever. As a president, disaster.
Absolutely. And yeah, I don't care. I mean, it's fine. He could have like done his peanut thing and like helped the poor or whatever. He can do all of that or like do soup kitchen or whatever he did in his spare time. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not like knocking that, but as a president, the I'm gonna be careful here because I don't want to be mean, but at the same time, even all the soup kitchens that he may have like done in his lifetime can't really make up for for some of the dumbest stuff that a president ever did. You know what I mean? It's nice that he did the soup kitchen, but yeah, it still doesn't make up for it. If you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
agree.
maybe he
I
wasn't
agree.
evil or anything, but he was
Yeah,
clueless. He was in,
no.
he was absolutely wrong for the job, and I can't think on a lot of different levels. I think that he made a lot of mistakes, and the situation that everybody's in now, he has a lot to do with it. There's really
Yeah.
no other way to look at it.
Yeah. And I do feel that in the fullness of time, we'll be saying the exact same thing about Joe Biden.
Oh, Joe Biden, the only thing he's lucky is that Carter exists, because if Carter didn't exist, I think that Joe Biden would be he's still in that conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I still would put like Joe Biden in the conversation with Carter. It's just that Carter, it's so historic. Maybe you're right. Maybe 10, 20 years down the road, we'll look back and that'll also, uh, there'll be another. He'll definitely be within the conversation. When you look at like the top three, the top five, he's definitely going to be there, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's ones that like we're looking at the 1800s or like things like that that I can't really think of because I wasn't there. Maybe there's some bad candidates there. Maybe you know better than I did. Is there like a historic one that everybody knows was really bad?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there one in the early those kind of Calvin Coolidge or I don't know what is
Uh,
there?
well, Yitis, for some reason, I didn't see where it came up, but he mentioned Warren G. Harding, which was, what considered pretty terrible for his days right after World War One.
Garfield.
Yeah.
It's funny
Well,
because
was William Henry Harrison, who got up there and did his inauguration speech, longest inauguration speech in history, in terrible weather, got pneumonia and died in less than a month. I'm
really
sorry to
that
laugh.
was his
Yes,
presidency.
William
Okay.
Henry Harrison. Yeah, he got pneumonia outside doing his inauguration speech in terrible weather, and got pneumonia and died a month later.
I see we have a Nerd Wars raid. That's cool. I like Nerd Wars. Erwin's a friend of mine. Uh, Isaac's cool, of course, as well. And thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Appreciate the Nerd Wars raid. So yeah, that is crazy that he got pneumonia from doing his speech. I didn't even know that.
Yep, he was only president for a month, for like 30 days.
That's crazy. I mean, I think back in the day, they didn't have like antibiotics and things like that. So I think that you got a cold and you were putting yourself at real risk if you got a cold, I guess.
Yes, that is right.
It's strange that in those days when suddenly there was somebody that lived until like, a late age. That was such an incredible feat during those years. Like how was that even possible back in the day? You
You had to have the right genes, and you had to be lucky. I mean, really, like in order to live a really long life like that. Um, it was
back in the day,
it wasn't uncommon. It happened more than you would think. A lot of times when we look back and we talk about like how the average age was 30 or something. Well, that's because infant mortality back then was way higher. So you lost a lot of young people when they were just a few years old, and then that bends that curve just a little bit, changes the average just a bit. But yeah, for people to live past 60 was pretty impressive, back in those days. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why a lot of the founding fathers, like, you think they're like 500. No, they're like 30 or 20 or something. Like some of those people were young, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But a lot of them did live fairly long lives, especially the ones that were wealthier, could afford healthier foods. They could afford better medical care for what medical care was back in the day. I mean, I was just looking up William Henry Harrison because I was looking to see exactly. He served as president from March 4th to April 4th, 1841. As the shortest president in history. And so he died a year, or died a month after giving his inauguration speech and passing away. But he was 68. So,
Uh,
that was
so,
1841. He was our ninth president.
well, he I guess outdid himself with that speech, at that age
He
and
did,
in
in
that
fact.
time.
Yeah.
He should have really. It's so crazy. If any of those people had some access to antibiotics, it would have been such a game changer. And in those days, if you lived to like 68 or 70 or 80 or things like that, imagine how many people you saw in your life that were no longer there,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
including like family members. Like, I think
Oh, of
that they used
course.
to have like a bunch of kids knowing that, well, you know, they may not all make it.
That's true.
Or like, let's have seven and maybe like a few, will kind of stay
Well,
around longer than others.
if you've ever spent any time looking back at anything like like ancestry.com and any of those types of things, like I have a few years ago, our family was doing a lot of that, looking back in there. We were looking at some of our family members that lived here in the 1800s and the very early 1900s, and some of those families, there was one that had 14 children, and 6 of them died when they were infants, right? So it's like, wow, that was that's a hell of a lot of kids. But 2, like, yeah, 6 of them, didn't make it outside of like 5 or 6 years old. So yeah, it was pretty common.
Common and like a part of life. You kind
It
of thought
was.
things like that would happen, which is weird. By the way, we're talking about ancestry or whatever. I don't know why I thought about this. I heard today that you know how they used to have this thing. Is it like 23andMe, whatever it is that they the DNA that you give them the DNA and they tell you
Yeah.
what. So the company that did that, I don't know which one of the companies, they went bankrupt, and they always promised that like nothing bad would happen with the info, and then I think like some Chinese company wanted to buy it and get all the info. Like all the people that gave all their DNA would have been in the hands of somebody else. I don't even know what happened with that. But the reason
So
why
that was I think the one that was in trouble. I think ancestry.com is fine. It's 23andMe, I think, is the one you're thinking of.
I see.
And yeah, there were bidders that were coming in looking to buy it up so that they could take that they could take that genetic data and use it for this, that, and whatever outside of what it was originally intended for. But thankfully, a lot of those were blocked. And then after the company went bankrupt, one of the original founders came back and bought it, saying that they were basically going to refocus the company on its original goals. So thankfully, that the worst possible outcome did not happen.
But even
But
so,
yeah.
even so, the fact, and this is where I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back, that at the time people were like, "Don't you want to give your DNA and see what they say?" And I'm like, "Nope, I'm never going to give my DNA to those people. I don't want anybody to have my DNA. I don't want to give it to anybody. Maybe there's certain circumstances if you have like, a medical thing or things like that, there's a real reason for it. But like for a recreational situation that I want to learn, like, if I had an ancestor that like came from, France or something, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not giving you my DNA to find that. And the other thing is, I feel like they just make up shit anyways. I feel like I don't feel like anybody even checked your DNA. They just took your DNA, and it's kind of like a fortune cookie situation, like a lottery. You know what I mean? They probably just spit out things and send it to people. Like each person just gets some other. You're 10% this, 2% that, 3% that. Who even knows? It's just a bunch of shit, in my opinion. Never believed it. Never believed it. I feel like that whole company was probably the biggest sham ever. Collecting DNA, giving you shit in return. Sorry, Sean.
Oh, well, let's see. Well, what else do we have to talk about today, Price? We've talked about Iran for quite a while. Did you have more to say on Iran?
No,
What
I
was going
guess
on
I
there?
didn't really have much more to say on it. We'll have to see how things develop. I was just saying that it's funny between the people on the left and the like some of those kind of weirdos on the right. I'm not saying you couldn't legitimately ask questions like the way Matt Walsh did if he continues in that line, which I thought was at least a legitimate way to ask his questions. But there were a lot of people that didn't act in good faith, and like I said, there's even people, I don't want to mention names, that like I know or even know pretty decently, or I see them appear on my like timeline on Twitter and things like that. 90 something percent of them are all kind of like really based, in my opinion. Once in a while I run into somebody like forget about like opposing war, not opposing war, like people that are like sad that the Ayatollah is gone. I had a few of those. I'm like, why are you sad that he's gone?
Mm-hmm.
I have to start rethinking like who my friends are. I'm willing to accept a lot of weird shit, but if you're like sad about that, I don't really know what to tell you. And speaking of people not being sad, Mark Ruffalo, every
Oh man.
time, every time that Mark Ruffalo has been speaking for years, he always has something to say, but never said anything about the fact that like, 35,000 people were, killed by their own government in Iran. Didn't say anything about it. Had nothing to say. He has all the things to say in the world. That's something he just doesn't want to touch upon that. And I don't know. I haven't looked at his Twitter. I'm sure that if there's an interview and people ask him about this thing now, he's gonna like whine about Trump doing this and Trump doing that because that's all he does. But the funny thing is that I guess there was a quote of him talking about potentially doing a solo, uh, solo Hulk movie. And I
Uh,
guess he said that in an interview, and some people shared it, and it just like everybody online was like saying, "We don't need a Hulk movie with you."
no.
Like the internet,
No,
united.
nobody needs that. Marvel
Nobody
doesn't
needs.
need that. The fans don't need it. Yeah,
Nobody cares about
nobody
that
cares
guy.
about that. No.
I mean, the truth is, he wasn't exactly the best Hulk. He was like basically they had Eric Bana at first, which I don't necessarily think that Eric Bana is a bad actor, or maybe he was not even bad in the role. It's the movie that he was in that I've never liked.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that the Ang Lee's Hulk movie is so bad. It's
I agree.
so bad.
I liked when Ang Lee did Hidden Tiger, Crouching, whatever. That was fine, but that's I think like the
Yeah.
the that's his wheelhouse. Once he went to like making superhero movies or American cowboys that happen to like to bang each other in the
Yes.
with while like driving their cattle or whatever it is, all that weird shit. That guy, I mean, I'm sorry, at best, I can say that Ang Lee is a weirdo, and at worst, I would think that maybe he even has a strange agenda. Because it's so strange. He came to the U.S. to make a movie. The guy that made like he made Hidden Dragon, Crouching, whatever,
Yeah,
right?
correct. Yeah, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeah, I
That
think
was
that.
that was a pretty cool movie. It had all this kind of cool stuff. They're like doing all this like cool stunts and whatever. He comes to America. They're like, okay, carte blanche. What movie do you want to make? How about two American cowboys that discover they're gay in the woods? And I'm like, "Really? That's what you wanna do? That's your carte blanche?" It's like, why is that your carte blanche? You know what I mean? In a way, if you think about it, that feels like an early version of weird shit that came later. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
It was like it
Yeah.
was the first spark of, like, some weird shit that comes later that there's some kind of weird commie, thing, like, washing over entertainment where they keep wanting to push that agenda. It was one of the early ones. I hate to say it. We always talk about where, like, the woke, I don't know if it's patient 0 or whatever you wanna call it. There's a lot of talk about where patient 0 is. I think that people a lot of times overlook Brokeback Mountain, like the most celebrated, this cool, Chinese director. He's now in Hollywood. He made this cool movie that everybody liked, almost like a bait and switch. You're like, wow, it's cool. There are ninjas. There's this or that. He comes here and gay cowboys in the woods.
Well, wasn't for me, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Listen, here's the thing. I'm not saying that you can't make a movie like that. I'm just wondering why he made a movie like that. That was his dream. That was the movie he wanted to make. You don't think that's weird?
Well, frankly, I do think it's weird. I don't know who wants to watch that movie, but yeah, you know,
Nobody.
I,
Nobody
I
wanted to watch it.
it
And
seemed like an odd choice as a follow up for somebody like coming over to America. Oh, you directed this action film, this wuxia action film, and you're gonna come over here and now you're gonna make that.
awful.
Okay, sure.
Actually, Hovad Owl says, I blame the crying game. You know what? The crying game is also an early one.
Yeah.
Also don't really know. I vaguely, I was rather young, I think when that movie came out, and the truth is, I don't think I knew anything about it. Maybe it was on one of those movie channels, or I don't know what, and I watched it, and, I was rather shocked at what I was seeing, you know what I mean? Like,
Uh
"What
huh.
is this?" Like, that movie certainly took a strange turn that I wasn't expecting. I think. I don't even know. I watched
Yeah,
it once many
the
years ago. I remember thinking
yeah.
that it's like I was very surprised by that movie. Never bothered to watch it again, of course.
Yes, I'm trying to remember that one had the star or the quote unquote female lead in that was actually the same guy who played
Stargate.
Raw in the Stargate movie, right? Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, yeah. The reveal was that the lady who the main character falls in love with is a lady boy.
But the
That
thing
was the
is that
reveal.
I don't
Yeah.
remember because I haven't rewatched this movie, but I think at the time I thought to myself, "Didn't he notice before that he was
No, no, no. I,
You get what I'm saying, Professor?
you would think, but I don't know.
Professor, I was a bit surprised because theoretically, he should have actually noticed that earlier in the movie, that
Y-
it took him so long in the movie to realize what had happened. I really, really have some questions about that. I mean,
yeah.
wouldn't there have been, things that happened that would have given it away?
Uh, it would seem so, but
It was such a
I
strange mystery. I mean,
yeah.
like, I guess what I'm saying is it seemed it was supposedly a twist and a mystery, but I still don't understand how the twist and the mystery worked. I never watched it again. I don't remember the details. I just remember at that moment thinking to myself that this is a very strange twist. I was pretty young because I think this movie came out a long time ago. Maybe that one is Patient Zero. Maybe that one, you know, I don't know. Maybe that one is Patient Zero, but I feel like uh Brokeback Mountain was more of a Patient Zero because it was taking like two cowboys in the American frontier and whatever it is and doing that with them. That was like a more malicious. The one with the crying game, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I
It
th- did
is what it is.
I don't laugh at me. Does Forrest Whitaker play in the crying game?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't remember. I feel bad that I've said that because Forrest Whitaker is a good actor. I hope he's not in the Crying Game, but for some reason I couldn't remember. Now I'm curious if Forrest Whitaker is in the Crying Game.
Forrest Whitaker plays Jody, a black British soldier kidnapped by the IRA in the 1992 film The Crying Game.
I told you he was there, and I think it's ring. He plays a British soldier. This is all very weird.
A black British soldier kidnapped by the IRA. Yeah.
That is all very weird. How did Forrest Whitaker find himself entangled in that weird thing? Well, to be fair, early on in Forrest Whitaker's career, he did find himself some strange roles, like an FBI agent in Bloodsport.
Yes.
You could tell in that movie that he knows that that thing like is not a high budget movie. They gave him a break, but he took it. He does his best. It is that whole movie to begin with, like I like Bloodsport because it's Bloodsport and there's something like culty and funny about it, but there's a lot of issues with that movie if you really think about it. If we were to like sit and do like a very professional critical review of Bloodsport, there's some issues with that movie.
Yes.
There's some stuff there that doesn't make sense. There's one scene that I think that like they wanted to do something and they didn't have the actors. And I know how bizarre it sounds, but I think they use like miniatures of actors from like zooming out, hoping that you won't notice. There's some like cheap solutions in like in that movie that kind of baffling. Also, I don't know, like Jean-Claude Van Damme's supposed to be American, doesn't sound American.
No.
Like, there's so much weird stuff that goes on there. Only during that time, I think it's like the late '80s or whatever it is, you could even get away with something like that. It's like Christopher Lambert's Scottish accent. I don't know. Jean-Claude Van Damme. They also did that in Universal Soldier. I mean, he doesn't sound American at all. He doesn't sound like he's a soldier, an American soldier in Vietnam. Not that
No.
Dolph Lundgren,
I mean, What?
Are you there?
Yeah, you still there?
Yeah, no. Did anything happen?
Oh no, I just yeah, you kind of got you cut off there for a second.
Oh, I was saying that Dolph Lundgren, he doesn't have an American accent either, but he sounded like Shakespeare compared to like, not like in a Shakespearean production compared to Jean-Claude Van Damme trying to do an American accent in Universal Soldier.
Yeah, the Belgian accent is fairly strong with Jean Claude Van Damme.
Very
I still
strong.
I still love Jean Claude Van Damme. I think he puts on some incredible performances in his films, at least in the martial arts sense. As an actor, a lot left to be desired there, but you know what? He's entertaining, so that's good enough.
Listen, at least if nothing else, he was a charismatic and very effective, like, action
Yes.
guy. You could tell that he could do action. He was very athletic. So if you watch the movie from that kind of perspective and you want to watch a fun action movie where you realize that anything they're going to tell you about the story, his background, all of it is complete nonsense, there's still something you can enjoy there, you know? In the
Yeah.
same way that, Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't quite seem like he's the guy in the American military based on his accent in movies like Commando or even, Predator, but he's just so charismatic and has so many
Oh yeah.
muscles that you're just like, "Ah, fuck it. Sorry,
Well, and
Sean."
it helps that movies like Commando are basically like superhero comic book films. They're completely like Commando is so completely over the top. It's not even you can't take anything in that movie seriously.
It's fun, though. It's
Oh no, I
fun, like,
love that movie. Yeah, I reviewed that with Trev Retro on his channel a little over about a month and a half ago. Yeah, it's it's such a fun, just completely over the top. It is a movie you literally cannot take seriously. If you try, like, it just doesn't work. It is a ridiculous, over the top comic book film. His character that is basically just a superhero. He does ridiculous stuff, and it's so much fun. It is like peak '80s action craziness.
Oh,
I
we have,
really love Commando.
we
We
have
do
a
have
few
some super
super chats.
chats we need to
Yeah.
get to. Yeah.
Uh, let's see for a second. How did we even get to talking about the things we were talking about?
We were talking about Ang Lee's Hulk, and we got there from talking about how awful Ruffalo is as Hulk. Although I think, frankly, he's awful in everything.
He's not a very good actor.
I've
Never
said
thought.
it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go. You say
No,
it.
I've said it multiple times. Hollywood is filled with some of the dumbest people on earth, and somehow Mark Ruffalo still comes across as being the dumbest person in Hollywood. It's incredible. Literally incredible. I have no idea how he does it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. And I always tell you this, that I think that, like, deep down inside he must know how stupid he is, and that's why I think that he's made himself this kind of political guy, that maybe people will, like, treat him nicely and invite him to some ceremonies and awards because 'cause they're like, "Wow, Mark Ruffalo sure peddles the agendas that we like." I mean, his acting isn't that good, but his agendas, that he peddles them. In the past, in the earlier days of Ruffalo, I didn't think anything special of him, but he was kind of like a somewhat serviceable enough, like, actor in some roles. But I've never been, like, extremely excited about him. Really, the reason he got that whole Hulk thing was because Edward Norton wasn't sort of playing ball with them. He was being a little bit of a diva in their eyes.
He was being Ed Norton.
I mean, listen, Ed Norton, it's not that I haven't heard him say stupid things himself, but I will say this, Edward Norton is a much better actor than Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, he
Edward Norton,
absolutely is.
legitimately a far better, far superior actor. I think that Edward Norton made a mistake. He should have just said that he'll do the Avengers and do what they tell him to, and it probably would have worked out great for him. But if you think about how Kevin Feige does things and the kind of yes men they wanted, I can understand why they would make that switch to Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo didn't have that kind of pedigree, was just looking for an opportunity, and probably better than anything for them, he was kind of cheap, at least in the beginning. So they just kind of threw him in there. When I saw the first Avengers movie, I didn't go out of my way to hate him, but he wasn't like the standout guy for me either. You know what I mean? I didn't like, for me, I liked Robert Downey Jr. That was really what held everything together for me. In the MCU, I thought that Robert Downey Jr. really stood out as the best of what they had there. I will say that even though I don't think Chris Evans is the best actor, he somehow was a pretty good at Captain America.
Oh
I
yes,
don't
no,
know.
he sells the Boy Scout role of Captain America very very well, and to be honest, some of the maybe some of his weaknesses as an actor, it works fine because he comes across as that kind of aw shucks, kind of kind of character. And there's a charisma, there's a sweetness to that portrayal of the character that I think really worked well for Captain America. So I've never had a problem with him playing Captain America. I thought he did fine in that role.
No, I think it was fine, and again, it's not that I think he's good for every role. I'll
Hmm.
also say that at least if nothing else, Chris Evans, you could say a lot of things about him, and most of them are probably true. He did go to the gym, he was
He
very
did,
fit for that
yeah.
role. He looked the part. He had the aw shucks vibe, the wholesome thing. Like he did that well. He went to the gym, looked like Captain America. I can't take that away from him, and that's why in those movies I didn't dislike him. I like Robert Downey Jr. Hulk was really just like he never got his solo movie because there's probably no reason to give him one. I want to look at Dutch Gradient, his comment here for $5, and the hilarity of it was them saying the cash was restricted from being spent on weapons, as if money weren't fungible. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was all very weird. That's when Obama gave them all the money, and they're like, no, they're not going to spend it on weapons.
Yeah,
What
they're
do you
not going
think?
to spend it on weapons. They're going to spend it on health care, and they're going to spend it on little teddy bears for kids, and they're going to make sure it gets spent on money, or not on money, on food for people. But that's okay because that will just free up money that they can go and spend on weapons. That's how it works. Oh, we're going to give
Absolutely.
you money, but they're not going to spend the money on guns or explosives. Okay. Well, that means that it just opens them up to spend money they would have spent on those other things to then spend that on guns. It's, this argument has been had so many times. It is absurd. Like we've had this argument about funding certain priorities in the U.S. government, funding certain healthcare groups, and certain things that people had issues with, and say, oh, well, we're giving them money, but they're not using it for the thing you don't like. And it's like, yeah, but that frees them up to spend the other money from somewhere else on the things we don't like. That's not how money works. It's
Right.
all, any money going in contributes to the thing that we don't want them to do. That's how money works. So yes, Dutch Gradient, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, this was all very dumb, and I agree with you. We had some good comments here. Adrian Vate says Ruffalo doesn't play Banner; he plays himself. I agree. Really,
Always.
nothing. Mark D with the C. How's it going, man? Ruffalo sucks as the Hulk. I agree. Karate Werewolf, who has been a member for 6 months. So thank you, Karate Werewolf. Appreciate that. Been a channel member. Hail Chat and Price of Reason Live. Thank you. And then Hovat Owl says. Ruffalo saw Clooney climb through union politics and thought he could grab that coattail. Absolutely. I also think that Clooney is very overrated. I, I will
Yeah.
I will say that you know what? They both have different problems as an actor, but I do think that George Clooney doesn't have much of a range as an actor, and neither does Ruffalo, to be honest. They can sort of play themselves. That's fine. I mean, sometimes you have actors that can only sort of play themselves, but I don't know. Jack Nicholson sort of does what Jack Nicholson does, but it's so great that you're just like, ah, fuck it. Let him just always be Jack Nicholson. But I don't think that neither Clooney nor Ruffalo are Jack Nicholson. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know if I explain what I meant, but hopefully you understood it.
Yeah. What's our next super chat here?
Wait, there was one more.
Oh, one
Kodo
more. Okay.
says, enjoyed your guys' appearance on Robot Head's channel this past Saturday. Great show of the conversations. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
always a
thanks.
pleasure being on Robot Head's stream. He's a friend of the channel, and yeah, it was great. Thanks for
Yeah.
checking us out there.
Robot Head joins us over here every now and then too.
Yes, that has happened. Uh, the Dead Man 79 was always Team Cap. Speaking of the Dead Man, thoughts on Game of Thrones movie? Is there a Game of Thrones movie?
Yes, they have announced there are plans for a Game of Thrones movie. I was looking at this earlier because I had a story about it. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, where'd it go? Well, anyway, there was a Game of Thrones movie that's been planned, and they are Warner Brothers has announced that they're going to be moving forward with making this Game of Thrones movie, and it's going to focus on the first Targaryens like conquering Westeros. I think was the idea. Let's see. Maybe I can find that article again. I thought I left it open, but I guess not.
You know, it's not. I mean, I don't know. Anything, I guess, could be done okay. I did like Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which, really surprised me because I kind of didn't have any patience for Game of Thrones anymore, but I do think that I like that show. At the same time, do I want to see a Game of Thrones movie? Is it supposed to be in the movie theater? Where is it supposed to be, this thing?
So yeah, a movie in the works at Warner Brothers from Andor writer Bo Willman. We're going to feature film adaptation in development with House of Cards showrunner and Andor writer Bo Willman. That's about all we know. The Targaryens have been at the center of all things Thrones on HBO. Following
Didn't Bo Willman create the original House of Cards, the one that was in England for the BBC? Let me check.
He may have, yeah.
I'm just probably saying that. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm probably wrong.
First into prominence.
No, it says he developed the American version. So.
Ides of March, and then created and show ran Netflix House of Cards.
Yeah, he didn't do the English version. What was the guy that did the English version? Because House of Cards originally was based on the BBC. Let me see.
Yeah, I don't remember who made the original BBC version.
Yeah, it wasn't Bo Willimon, so my mistake.
Okay, so it's just speculation that this story would revolve around Aegon the First. So it doesn't sound like there's anything that we know yet about exactly what that is. I don't know what to say. Honestly, for me, Game of Thrones is a real mixed bag at this point because the first few seasons of Game of Thrones, I would say even up through like middle of season 6, even definitely through season 5, really good. Game of Thrones was excellent, and it was so well acted. It was so well directed. The set design, the costume design, even the writing was on point for tons of everything that they were doing, just episode after episode of that show. It was really good, but it fell off, and it fell off hard so badly that it's basically ruined the show. I haven't gone back and watched it. I go back and watch shows that I love all the time because I go back and I want to enjoy them and experience them again, and then kind of get to not just experience them again, but then kind of maybe see things that I missed when I was watching through that. I haven't cared for the new House of the Dragon series. It just, I don't know, did not land with me at all. But then we also
I thought that the first season of House of the Dragon wasn't bad, but then I started watching the second season, and it's not that I got up one day and said I don't want to watch it anymore. It's like I watched a few episodes, and then there was a new one, and rather than me rushing to want to watch it, I just kind of didn't do it. And then I'm like, well, maybe I'll just watch a few together. And I'm like, well, maybe at the end when they show it, I'll just binge them. And then I never watched it. There was something about that second season that lost me, and I don't know how. I was at least mildly interested, but there was nothing for me to watch. I don't know. I couldn't. It didn't draw me in. I like Matt Smith. I like him a lot. I somehow they lost my interest in that season.
Yeah, yeah. The new series though, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, has been really good. I'm not going to say it's the best thing ever. I know a lot of people are saying it's a 10 out of 10 best thing ever.
No.
I think it's got a lot of weaknesses to it. I think there's some issues that various different fans have with it, but at the same time, it is very well done and it is a very human story. And it's enjoyable, I think, because it did not try to be this sweeping epic that they've tried to do with everything else Game of Thrones. Instead, it's a very simple human story about a guy who's trying to just be the best person he can be, trying to follow his code and live out the life that he's sought for himself. And then you have somebody else who is drawn to him because he is so very different from everyone that he's grown up with, right? You have the character of Egg who's drawn to Dunk because he represents so much that is completely the opposite of all of the other people that he's had in his life up to that moment, from his father to his psychotic brother, his cowardly brother, all of these other people. And he doesn't have anyone that he wants to have anything to do with. He doesn't want to connect with them. He doesn't want to learn from them. He doesn't, he's constantly told about how he's this unruly child. But when he's with Dunk, he's a better person, right? And so he's actually learning to become more of what Dunk is and less of what his family is. And he realizes that's what he wants. And so you now have this dynamic between these two characters, and that is what works so well in the show. There's other things that don't work as well, but overall it's very, very well done. And I am looking forward to hopefully another season of some really fun, very simple, very focused storytelling with those two characters. So Game of Thrones is just a really complicated thing, Price. Like, I don't know if I want a movie, because I don't know if they're going to do a good job with it or not. I don't know if they're actually going to tell a story worth telling, if it's going to be worthwhile as a movie, or if it's just going to be a waste of my time.
Well, I mean, if it's just a one-off movie and somebody has a vision for a very specific moment within the timeline, maybe there could be something interesting about it. I'm not writing it off because I didn't think much of Night of the Seven Kingdom and ended up surprising me. I'm also with you. It's not a 10 out of 10 for me. I gave it like a rare 85, I think, out of 10 or something like that when we talked about it with Robot Head. For me,
Yeah.
that's very high. That is extremely high. But you know, at the same time, it's not perfect, but there's something very enjoyable about it, and I did like it. I did genuinely like it. So I'm okay with 85, but I wouldn't give it any more than that.
Yeah. So Game of Thrones movie, you got your money's worth there, Dead Man. That discussion for your $2, but I just don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see if they've got some capable writers behind it. If they're actually, plotting out like something that's going to be told succinctly in a simple. I don't want a 3-4 hour epic movie, right? I don't want that. If they can tell a nice, compact story with it's character driven or plot driven, not character driven, they'll play, something that works in that simpler time frame instead of a 17-hour, television show or something, then yeah, that it would be enjoyable. But I don't know. It's been a real mixed bag what's been happening with what goes on in the Game of Thrones universe, and it really seems like the more they stray from the original material, trying to make up their own stuff, the worse and worse it gets.
True. This is what I was talking about that made me laugh. That you go into Twitter, and one of the main things that was like kind of these kind of things that are trending that they tell you uh, fans want Hulk solo movie, but not with Mark Ruffalo. And then you click and you see like the entire world just piling up on him. And it all started because he himself said something in an interview about it. Let me see if I can find that thing. What was it? Let me see because I think that Gary had a good reaction to it. Okay, this was it. Let's see if I can share it. So he told, I guess, his Screen Rant or whatever it is. I don't know if it'll ever really come to be. We keep talking about it. There's been so many Hulk movies. Does anybody really want another one? I'd love one. And then I guess they wrote Mark Ruffalo on solo Hulk movie. Does anyone really want another one? And then Gary wrote, "Not with you." And the thing got like 11,000 11,000 likes. Like that is such a overwhelming response to like, and everybody knows like nobody thinks much of Mark Ruffalo. It's true though. You know, I, I agree that people here said that he was trying to go like the Clooney route or whatever. Honestly, Mark Ruffalo should be very, very thankful that he has this kind of career that he has at all. Like he is not the kind of talent, in my opinion, that gets a lot of the roles that he's gotten. There's been so many roles that I found his performance so weak in, and yeah, I don't care. I You can recast Hulk. I don't care. There's probably like a short list. As much as actors say their politics and stuff, and they annoy me. I think the number one actor on a list that if he's in a movie these days, if you tell me, do you want to go see the new Mark Ruffalo movie? My answer is probably no.
Yeah, that's going to be my answer. No, no, thank you. Not going to bother going to
No,
see
I don't feel like seeing him.
a
It's like
Ruffalo movie.
he's exhausted me. It's not just like there have been actors, I'm sure, like, there's been actors that have said stuff that I don't agree with. I'm sure that there's every actor, even ones that I've liked, have said some stupid things. Mark Ruffalo has taken that to like other levels. It's like he crossed the line of being an entertainer to just sitting around and just, lecturing people about stuff really aggressively in a way that's not cool anymore. And I've lost that feeling. He was never that great of an actor to begin with, so I've lost that feeling of like really being like happy of seeing him.
True.
So yeah, I just thought this was funny, and then it was like trending, and nobody wanted this guy. Like so many tweets, everybody was like making fun of him. So I thought it was kind of funny. Uh, he probably thinks to himself, "Oh, I can mention in an interview like the Hulk, and people will always be happy." People are not going to be happy forever. You know, I
Yep.
don't think that Mark Ruffalo has ever been less popular than he is now, and that recent movie with Chris Hemsworth and Halle Berry, which also on the poster like top billing, you had Mark Ruffalo. I'm not saying that it was him that tanked the movie. It's not going to help your movie to have him there either.
No, not at all. You know what I really want? I just want, because they're doing the Secret Wars thing pretty soon with the Marvel films. And in the Secret Wars, you had all sorts of. If you look back at the comic book versions, right? Basically, you ended up with a whole bunch of different versions of characters, sort of all smashed together on Battle World. And then when it was all over, now you had all these different versions of different characters, kind of all. It was kind of a cleaning house type of thing. I want to see Ed Norton's Hulk show up in the Secret Wars, and then like he just ends up being the Hulk after that. Like the other version of the Hulk it just disappears after
They don't have
Secret
the
Wars.
balls to do that. If Disney had balls, that's what they would do. Like I really am so sick of him. Whalem03 says Bana Hulk was kind of underrated. Uh and I think he was saying that he would rather have him than here.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
this point, would rather have Eric Bana again as Hulk over Ruffalo.
yeah.
I will tell you this. I actually think that Eric Bana is not a terrible actor.
No, he's
I
not.
I think that he was very unfortunate that they gave the movie to Ang Lee, who had no business making that movie. Ang Lee, uh, you know, there's no nice way for me to say this without sounding like a douche, Professor, but Ang Lee probably should have stayed, making movies for the Chinese market. I don't think he's ever really understood Americans. I think that making the Hulk showed how much he doesn't understand what he's doing, and following that up with the gay cowboy movie also shows that I think he's not right for the market.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I'm putting it generously, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure that there's a few people that enjoyed like the cowboy gay thing, but look, it was a movie at the time. They gave it 50 million awards. They're like, look how gay those cowboys are. They gave him like all the awards, and who watches that movie today? Who even thinks about that movie today?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's one of those movies that like came and went and nobody gives a shit about. Like you'll never hear people like, "Oh, we got to do a rewatch." Like, and we hang out online, we see like people doing reviews of movies and stuff like that. How many people have you ever seen like videos with like two jerk offs that have like surprised faces and it's like first time watching Brokeback Mountain? Never see it. Nobody gives they don't give a shit enough about that movie even to have like two, bimbos watching it for the first time, quote unquote. They don't even have time for that. It's so nobody gives a shit about it.
Nope.
Sorry, ladies. I'm not saying that all
No.
ladies are bimbos. I'm just saying, the kind that watch the movies. Never mind. I'm
Yeah.
also not saying that all the women that watch the movies are bimbos, but in my mind, that's what I was thinking to myself.
Yeah. No,
I'm
I
not going
think
to get out of this, am I, Professor?
no. Moving on. Eric Bana, no, I think is a good performer. I've never really had any problem with him, except for playing the villain Nero in the 2009 Star Trek film, where he's basically laughably terrible. But that's not his fault. I think that was just the writing, the characters created by JJ.
Isn't that was
It
like
was
J.J.
terrible.
Abrams? I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
how much can we
It's not his fault. Yeah.
It's not his fault. He did the best he could, Anything with J.J. Abrams is always gonna be dumb and cringe and
Yeah.
stupid, so probably did the best he could. I
But yeah,
haven't
Ed
watched Chopper I've been told that Chopper is
Chopper.
the movie to watch. Haven't watched it. I have to watch it, I know.
Oh, okay.
Uh, Ang Lee movie, Gemini Man with Will Smith was one of the worst movies I ever saw. Yeah, another one, like, they're like, "Oh, let's sing." Ang Lee is a flop. He is a flop in Hollywood. He has not made one halfway decent movie in Hollywood. All of his movies have been shit, and I'm starting to think that maybe there were people working for him that made, like, Crouching Dragon, Hidden Tiger, whatever it is. They made that one, and maybe he was like, they ghost made that movie because that movie was fine, but anything else he did after that was shit. It's the truth. It's the truth. I don't know if he like became shitty because he came to the US and he wanted to show how shitty he makes movies here, or he just like, was overrated. I still think that there's something here. Maybe he was cloned or something. Maybe like a clone replaced him. I don't know. I can't explain it to you because like that movie, the Crouching Dragon one is fine.
Yeah. So it's an excellent movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
don't know.
after that, you had the I'm trying to remember some of the other movies that he had, like all like crybaby chick films, like Sense and Sensibility, and
Yeah,
I guess there was Life of Pi. That was also one
that
of
was
his.
Ang Lee.
Yes, that was also Ang Lee. So
Honestly,
that was all right.
Somebody did tell me that was a good movie, and I started watching it. I think there was like some Indian kid on a boat with a tiger or something.
Yes.
I started watching that, and I know people loved it, and I like tigers, and somehow I fell asleep, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm not watching this." Now, it could be the best movie ever, could be the best.
I wouldn't say that, but yeah.
Same as Bong Joon-ho. Yeah, I mean, I guess that the lesson here is that usually if somebody excels in a certain culture in a certain country, that's probably they're not always able to make the crossover to somewhere else. Paul Verhoeven was big in Amsterdam, and then he came to Hollywood, and like completely like knocked things out of the park. He did
Yeah.
RoboCop. He did Total Recall, which
Hmm.
like, I think he did Basic Instinct. No, I think that one, it's
Yeah.
not as good as the other two, although I did enjoy it. He made Showgirls, which everybody hated.
Yeah.
The
You
strangest thing
you
is,
left out Starship Troopers.
oh,
That's one of his most
that's
celebrated
sorry,
ones.
I
Yeah.
apologize. That's actually one of his best. That's
Yeah.
maybe after RoboCop, that's his like number 2. Although I do like Total Recall. I'm not gonna lie to you. I
No,
like
so do
Total.
I like Total Recall a lot. Yeah, it's a solid movie. It's fun.
I would say that the top 3 for me are probably RoboCop, Starship Troopers, and Total Recall. That has to be his best 3 movies for whatever I like. I didn't hate, Basic Instinct, and Showgirls everybody hated. I don't know why I didn't hate that movie when I saw it. It was ridiculous and stupid. I think that, like, I could be wrong on this. I've always thought that Showgirls was a movie that was like half a tongue-in-cheek satire of sorts. It's just that it was a quirky type of offbeat humor that nobody really understood, and maybe it didn't land well with American audiences. It was a weird movie.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's very weird. I feel like Paul Verhoeven in his mind, this movie was like really awesome and doing great things. I kind of still respect him for making it, and there's some strange, I don't really know why, but I don't hate it.
I think you just have a thing for Jesse Spano. I think that's what it is.
I thought that it had Elizabeth Berkley in
Yeah.
a surprisingly decent role.
Jesse Spano.
Yeah. I think that she really stepped up in this role, and even Gina Gershon was like, I I don't know. I mean, listen, it was a preposterous movie. They kind of sold it. What am I gonna do? They sold the movie. They did what they did, and somehow I don't know. It's bizarre and weird. I don't know why he made it, but there's kind of a hard to look away type of feeling to that movie. Almost like a so bad it's good or whatever you want to call it.
Well, a lot of people, especially if you talk to those who are more like like film scholars, view the movie very differently from how the public tended to see it. They see it very clearly as a satire
Right,
of
exactly.
the whole the whole story and everything. It's all just a satire, and so it's not really meant to be taken like seriously as so many of the people in the just general viewing audience took it, right? It's so, yeah, I mean, it's definitely not my favorite movie. I've seen it once, didn't really care for it all that much, wasn't my thing. But I people like lots of different things. I know there's people who absolutely adore Starship Troopers. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I didn't think it was like the greatest thing I've ever seen. I know that it's got a huge following, but while I enjoyed it, I've seen it numerous times. It's I don't like sit around quoting lines from it. Like it's the greatest thing ever.
What,
Robo,
Starship Troopers?
yeah, your Starship
I mean,
Troopers.
I thought it was pretty solid, in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I didn't say
not
it's
as solid
bad.
as
It just I'm not like I know people who think it's like one of the greatest things ever made, and to me, I'm just like, well, I mean, it's good.
I think it's
I
very good, but I still think that RoboCop for me,
Oh yeah.
like the
Oh
peak Verhoeven has to be RoboCop. That to
yeah.
me is the best. By the way, Quentin Tarantino on multiple interviews says that he enjoys watching Showgirls. I understand why. There's something kooky about that movie that it's hard, like it wasn't made, you could tell it was made by a good filmmaker who was trying to do something offbeat, and like you said, it doesn't land with everybody and not everybody gets it, but you kind of watch it, and it keeps your interest in some odd way. I felt that way too, and I felt that way before I heard that Tarantino didn't hate it. Then later I'm like, oh well, if he doesn't hate it, I kind of feel a little better about myself, because kind of felt weird that I didn't hate the movie.
Yeah. RoboCop is definitely the one that I go back to numerous times. That's one I picked up the 4K release of that, and it's gorgeous, and it's just such a great film. Great 80s kind of over the top action, but it's got some really solid, actual character moments in it as well, and so it's a really enjoyable
The
film.
movie
I
has
love
heart.
RoboCop. Yeah,
The movie has heart. I mean, the thing is that there's the whole struggle of Murphy's character and what he goes through. I don't know what it is, but there's something about that movie that you feel a connection to this character, and it's almost like there's he's a tragic figure in a way.
yeah. Well, he's
And
so they've done everything they can to remove his humanity, not just taking his flesh, but trying to also take his mind from him and lock him into these different directives and things. Like they've tried everything they can to completely destroy the humanity of this person, and then in the end he triumphs over that. He's able now to return to being himself as much as is possible. He overcomes the machine to become a man again. And yeah, it's a lovely, interesting journey for the character to go throughout that episode of the film.
Cider Feet says only spoiled slightly by Ronnie Cox's 12-foot arms. That's with the scene at the end that he flies out the window.
Yes.
It wasn't the best effect. I'm
No.
surprised that they couldn't do something better. You think I understand, and I'm with people that usually it's not good to do like George Lucas with all those revisions. But if somebody somehow tidied up those arms, I wouldn't be upset. If there was like something that somebody could do to fix that, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Yes, him falling, the stop motion animation or whatever of him falling. I mean, a dummy would have looked better than that. But yeah, some of the other stop motion animation in the film is fantastic with ED 209.
Oh,
Walking
absolutely.
around stuff. It's so well done. And then that just that last little bit.
That last little bit is weird. But Magnificent Seven says, and you want a really big car that gets really shitty gas mileage. That's the thing with the guy who holds them hostages.
Uh-huh.
He's
Yes. Yeah. I want a SUX 2000 or whatever.
Right.
I forget whatever the name it is.
Throw in the mayor when he'll give you a Blaupunkt or something like that.
Yes, he's a Blaupunkt stereo. Yeah. I really laughed at that the first time I watched it because my first, not my first car, my second car had it was a crappy car, but somebody had put a really nice Blaupunkt stereo in it.
I only know that Blaupunkt is even anything because of that movie. Like, I had to then try to find out what the guy was saying. I'm like, what's he talking about? So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd buy that for $1. That's so funny. I think that
for
guy
$1.
didn't even know. Imagine, like, I think the guy had no idea that he would become like an icon, like a cult. I wonder who that person is and what they do. They probably, their whole career is that they were, I'd buy that for $1. The 6000 SUX. Darkman is a good movie too.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that in a while. I probably should. I think that it's, from what I remember, it is a good movie. It has a young Liam Neeson. It has Sam Raimi, in his earlier days doing something cool. And I don't know. I haven't watched it in a minute, but I'm sure that it's still probably, I would think it's a good movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. Darkman's good. That's a Sam Raimi. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I think he wanted to make The Shadow, but they wouldn't let him, so he's like, fuck it, I'll make The Darkman. I think so. Demolition Man was also good. Man, we used to have such
Demolition
good movies.
Man. Yeah, again, that's another one of those kind of like Commando. It's so completely over the top and ridiculous. It's basically a live action comic book. And I've loved Demolition Man since the first time I saw it. Yes, it's ridiculous. It is absurd, but it is so funny, and I love that movie. Yeah. So I found the guy who did the I'll buy that for $1. His name is S.D. Nimeth. He has a very short IMDb page that includes the Blues Brothers as an inmate.
He probably
uh,
goes to conventions, though. I'm sure there's something that he
oh,
managed to.
who knows? Yeah. Let's see. I was gonna see if he's still around. But yeah, his last acting job was in RoboCop 3 in 1993.
Oh, wow, they brought him back. Mephisto says, "Is there a war with Iran going on? I thought I heard explosions out my door. High price." Well, Mephisto is. I think he's currently in Israel, so there's probably some missiles flying around him. I hope you're staying safe, Mephisto, and sitting in your shelter or whatever you need to do. And thank you for you know listening to our program amidst
Yeah.
all that chaos.
Yeah. Well, it seems the good news is they probably aren't going to be launching too many more things after the next couple of days.
I can only hope. I think that the sooner that if they can neutralize a lot of their capabilities, especially when it comes to the launchers, because they have a lot of missiles. They have a lot of missiles. The thing that I think is the more urgent thing that needs to be destroyed is their launchers. If they
Yeah.
can take out a lot of their launchers, even if they have like 10,000 missiles sitting there, it'll be more difficult for them to do anything with them because their launchers will be gone. But like I said, don't underestimate them in terms of this is all they do. Like this is all they care about and all they do. That's why they have so many missiles and launchers. So I don't know, but I really hope that is the highest priority now, so that they stop sending missiles all over the place. They're just shooting them randomly, just shooting them anywhere, really.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just sort of lashing out, firing them anywhere. Real quick, Mur Rockstro mentioned Sam Raimi. We were talking about Sam Raimi just a little bit ago. Actually, it was Kodo Rob 22 said, speaking of Raimi, sad to hear of Bruce Campbell's cancer diagnosis. Had you heard about that, Price?
I have. I just want to
Yeah.
quickly. Mephisto says, I'm safe. I love the movie Talk Better. Thank you. Well, that's
Glad to
awesome.
have you, Mephisto.
Yeah. And yeah, Read by Nature. Very sad about Bruce. Uh, I also thought that he was very, very elegant and classy in the way he handled it.
Absolutely. You're right.
He was just. I think I. Let me see where that. I'm gonna find that.
Yeah, his statement was very heartfelt. It was very simple. He wasn't saying like, "Look, I'm going to preach to everybody about cancer. Oh, look at all the help I need, whatever." No, just very, very simple, straightforward statement. Very Bruce. I gotta say that I was extremely saddened to read this, and at the same time, he's in an okay place. He's got support and he's being taken care of. And so I can only wish him the best. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very. I thought that he did the best he could with the news and how he explained it, and I think everybody likes Bruce Campbell, so I think a lot of people are wishing for him to get better.
Yeah.
So
Cider Feet says Bruce Campbell deserved a bigger career. You're right. I think he did.
I think
And
he did.
yeah, he deserved a lot more than he ever got. But at the same time, he got a lot of great opportunities. I think just about everyone who's ever worked with Bruce just loves him to death. He's a great guy. Probably maybe a little too nice for Hollywood, to be honest, and that might have been part of the problem. But I also don't think he was one that was ever interested in schmoozing and going to all the parties and all of that stuff. He was always he's always been gracious to the fans as well, which I appreciate to no end. Like, if there's one thing you want to do as an actor to get me to love you, to get me to appreciate you, you treat your fans well. And Bruce has always been one of those that has always been incredibly kind to his fans, which is so nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And regarding somebody wrote, how did he not had a bigger career? I don't know. Sometimes that happens, but anytime that I see him anywhere, I always like him. He certainly was worthy of a bigger career. I think that he had. I almost feel like I dare say this. I know it's a weird thing to say, I feel like, I could be wrong on this. I don't know why I think this, that maybe like Bruce Campbell walked so that Jim Carrey could run or something.
What?
Meaning, like, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
I feel like Jim Carrey with a lot of these kind of expressions and faces and things that he does, it's sort of like an evolution of maybe like it's not exactly what Bruce Campbell does, but I feel like I don't know how to explain it. Like Jim Carrey can be very animated sometimes, and Bruce Campbell, especially you look at stuff like The Evil Dead and things like that, he has this very kind of animated thing too.
Yeah.
I almost let's put it this way, I almost feel like Jim Carrey at least watched Bruce Campbell. He's not exactly Bruce Campbell, he's his own thing, but I feel like he at least watched him.
Yeah.
Could be
I
wrong. That's
yeah.
my that's
Yeah.
what I think though.
No, I've always enjoyed Bruce from some of the earliest performances that I saw him in back when he was making the Evil Dead movies with Sam Raimi, and then when he did The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. I don't remember if you ever saw that.
I don't think I saw that.
It was a television. It was a short run. I think he got 2 seasons, or maybe it was just 1 season of the television show. It's hard to remember now because now like one season is like 8 or 10 episodes of a show. Back then, like one season could be 29 episodes or something. I think it ended up getting like 1.5 or 2 seasons worth. But it was a Western, but it was a sci-fi Western. It was like there was like this alien artifact that gave people special powers, and he was like trying to track it down. It was weird, but it was a very, very fun, sort of tongue-in-cheek fun show.
Well, Captain Zoom says Bruce walks so Carl Urban can fly.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, that's also probably a good. I will say this: probably a lot of these actors they're different than him, but I do think they watched him. I think that I think that he's an actor's actor or something like that. I don't really know how to explain it, but I do agree with the idea that he's probably more quality than what he was given credit for. And I
Hmm.
was also thinking while you were talking that it's only thanks to Bruce Campbell that we know that they completely Kevin Feige completely destroyed Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange 2.
Oh yeah.
We suspected it, but the only way we really knew is that in an interview, Bruce Campbell is the one that said that the movie had to be refilmed. Nobody else said that. The only reason people know that is that I think in an interview he let it slip, and he said it as like Raimi's friend, meaning like, yeah, well, he said people said, "Are you going to have a cameo in the movie?" He's like, "At this point, I don't even know." I don't know if he made a half a joke. He's like, "I don't even know if Sam Raimi knows what's going to be in that movie," or something like that. He said, and it's
Yeah.
like so much of
Yes.
it had to be refilmed again and again. I don't know what the way he talked about it. It's like he said a few sentences, but you couldn't think anything other than shit show.
Yep. Coda Rob mentions he got his moment in Doctor Strange 2 as Pizza Pop, but yeah, he is in all of Raimi's films somewhere. He's in there because him and Raimi go way, way back. Like I said, all the way to the Evil Dead films. They really got their start together, and yeah, they're close. And so yeah, he's in everything that they make. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Coen Brothers. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Coen Brothers. Like to have him in little cameos there. He was in the movie. He was in the movie we saw on our first date, me and my wife, way back when. He was in Congo.
was Congo though trying to be like Indiana Jones? What was it?
So no, Congo was the film was based on a book by Michael Crichton, but it was about they go and they find this sort of lost civilization in the Congo, and there's an ape that can do sign language, and they use that ape to be able to communicate. And anyway, it's supposed to be sort of a techno thriller that they have all this technology that allows them to go into the jungle and find everything that's going on there. but it is a disaster of a movie. It's so bad. But it has so many like great actors in it. Like but it's just a terrible film, and it's rather funny that was my wife and I, that's our first date. Was seeing Congo. Because it's infamously like a terrible film.
Absolutely. I didn't watch it, so I can't really say, but it sounds
No,
pretty
that's
bad.
okay. You're better off not seeing it.
Wasn't there a video game called Congo, or was it Congo Bongo?
That sounds like that would be, yeah, I think there might have been
There was a video game that I played that had a similar name to what you're saying, and now I'm curious about it.
Yeah, there was a video game called Congo Bongo. Yeah,
that was a fantastic
for the Genesis, I think.
Fantastic video game. Let me see if I can find a little bit of that. Give me 1 second. Let me try to see if I can find Congo Bongo.
Yeah,
by the way,
go ahead.
I wanted to quickly say, if you guys are watching this through the app on Rumble, you should definitely sign up for Rumble and then follow us so you're always, notified when we do streams. If you're on YouTube and you're new to this stream, or you maybe got here from my other channel where I dropped a link to this stream, or one of my other social media accounts, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. This is a channel for live streams. So some people don't realize that it's something else. And if you're enjoying this live stream and you like this kind of thing and you're into this sort of thing, then you should definitely subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And now let me find Congo Bongo. I just want to see a little bit of. I thought there were monkeys in it. Am I right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not remembering the game off the top of my head, but I'm sure I've played it.
Okay. Wait, this is a commercial for it? I don't know. Okay, so I remembered monkeys, and here you go. This is for Sega.
Funny thing happened when I started to play Congo Bongo. Hey, these nuts are crazy. Who are these guys? Hey, fellas, let's not get carried away. Oh, no. Maybe I'll go for a swim. On second thought, maybe I'll go for a walk. Hey, lady, this is a one-way street. Hey, that's the guy I've been looking for. Congo Bongo from Sega. It lasts a long, long time.
Such a strange commercial.
Oh, well, let's say there was an arcade version as well.
Yes, I used to play in the arcade. I used to play this game in the arcade. I feel like I also had some kind of home version on one of the consoles. But all these monkeys would be jumping around. I love this stupid game. I don't know why I love it, but I remember liking Congo Bongo. Yep, this is the arcade one. They've had different versions of it over the years, but you're like on an adventure. People tuning in now, they're probably thinking, what is this?
It's a gaming stream. We're playing retro games.
Congo Bongo. You know, you had to have been there. When I look at it now, it looks rather simplistic and kind of stupid. But as a kid, I was really impressed. With it. This was like a fancy Donkey Kong, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's a sort of an isometric 3D Donkey Kong. Yeah,
3D Donkey Kong, but it also had the monkeys. So yeah, that was that. Somebody said it's like Mr. Magoo before GoldenEye 64. I think I had GoldenEye on like PlayStation 1.
That was on the N64. Was GoldenEye? Yeah.
They didn't have GoldenEye on the.
Nope. It was that was a Nintendo 64 exclusive. They had some other Bond games on the PlayStation, but they didn't have GoldenEye 007.
I really feel like I played it on a PlayStation. Maybe I didn't. Hold on. PlayStation GoldenEye. GoldenEye PlayStation 1. Oh, you're right.
Yep. I've actually been playing a bunch of original PlayStation games. I got an FPGA console. It's basically it's built on the Mister platform, which is an FPGA. So it basically instead of being an emulator where it just tries to read the code of the file and then tries to do the same thing the processor would have done to make it run, it's actually the hardware itself is pretending to be the original hardware. It's acting just like the original hardware would do. So taking in the instructions and doing the exact same thing. So it runs really well and really faithful to what the original console ran like. And I've been playing a bunch of old PlayStation, original PlayStation games, because there were some incredible games on the first PlayStation. I've been playing some other stuff too. I've been going back playing some Super Nintendo and some others as well. But
I have a console that I got at some point in recent years online, and it like promised that it would have all these like PlayStation 2 games, all the consoles like from 1980 to I don't know what year, and I really enjoyed playing with that console. I just haven't really had time to fiddle around with it lately. Obviously, I could never get to all the games there, but yeah, it's kind of cool. And I don't know if it's as good as what you're doing. Pretty darn good though. Like I really have been enjoying that. And Tomahawk says PS was Tomorrow Never Dies. I think that's the game I had for it. I actually
they did have Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah,
I had a modded PlayStation. I was very proud of myself. You know, not that anybody cares about this. I don't even know why I'm telling you this story. I got my PlayStation. I believe I got it in Thailand. I don't know why I got it in Thailand. I think maybe it was cheap there. I was there and maybe it was cheap there. But the thing that was interesting, I bought the console in Thailand and then I bought like a bunch of games that like usually would cost a lot of money, but they were cheap for some reason. Now, part of the reason why they were cheap was most likely because they weren't how do I explain it?
Entirely legal?
Everything I've ever done is above board, Professor. I bought whatever they sold me.
Yeah.
There was some guy standing in some fishy place, and I bought things, but I could only assume that he did everything above board.
There you go. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
As did I. You know what I mean? Like, so, and then I think I had a problem because I bought a system that maybe didn't work in the US. I don't really know. And the truth is, I didn't really think of anything. There were a ton of games that were very cheap for no apparent reason, and the console was cheap, also probably above board. That everything was so cheap, I can only assume. I took everything, and then I was in New York City, and I got up and I said, I know how to solve everything. I know how to make it because I think the games didn't work or something didn't work or the system, there wasn't the same system. Maybe I got something that was PAL, but here it's like NTSC. I don't even know what the problem was, but there were some issues with it. And I said to myself, what if I went to Chinatown without knowing anything? It's not like with the internet today. You know what I mean? I just go to Chinatown with this thing in a backpack and somebody will fix this for me. And I went with that. That was my plan. I'm going to Chinatown. I know nothing. There's nothing, yeah, there was some internet at the time, but I couldn't know. You know what I mean? Like there was nobody online telling me where to go in Chinatown to do this. So I arrive in Chinatown with the thing in my back, and I just started going and seeing like, I figured the shadier the people looked, the more the chance there is that they'll know who can help me. So, I went, the more that I see like people selling like weird fish and, on the street or whatever, the more like the things are weird there, maybe bags that I don't know where they came from, or they're selling DVDs that may or may not be official releases and things like that. The more things looked like sketchy, the more I was feeling great. And then finally, when I felt like that I was at the heart of the sketchiness, I said, do you know somebody that can like do things? I explained it. I needed modding. I needed this and this. And then somebody's like, yes, yes, you go over there. And then somebody pointed, and then I went, and like there was a guy that was even more suspicious than all these other guys. And then I said, I brought my PlayStation. He immediately knew everything I wanted. No problem, man. No problem. He fixed everything. Didn't even take a lot of money for it. It was very, very reasonable, the rates, you know?
Yeah, sure.
So some people may say that in a way I was kind of like an istaphobe, like a terrible person, because I'm like, I'll go to Chinatown, there'll be fishy people there that'll help me. But I think they don't realize that it wasn't coming from a bad place. I was complimenting them. I had faith that they would be able to fix and mod this thing, and after that I could use all of my games. So they delivered. You know what I mean? I think
There you
very
go.
highly of them.
Yeah, I had a modded PlayStation as well.
So
I did that myself though. I found the chip and I installed it myself.
well, you know, each of us have our own way of.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, that was the easiest thing for me. I didn't live near Chinatown, so I had to have them send me the chip, and I had to do it myself. But I also when I was installing it, I had some friends that worked at Radio Shack, so I got some extra parts, and I set it up with a switch. Because, there were some games that came out later on price that could detect if you had a modded PlayStation and they wouldn't run.
Really?
So I could turn the mod chip off on mine. If there was a title that was detecting it and refusing to work, then I could reach back there and flip a switch and I could turn the mod chip off.
Wow.
Kind of nice.
That's some serious
shit,
Professor.
We modded. My friend and I worked on modding it because another friend of ours brought back. He was traveling. Don't remember where he went to. I think he went to a few different places in Asia. But anyway, he came back and he had a Dragon Ball Z PlayStation game. There were like basically none of those that were published here in the US. And my friend was like super into Dragon Ball Z. And so he wanted to play this Dragon Ball Z fighting game on the PlayStation. We couldn't play it, right? Because it was region locked. It wouldn't run on the local one. So we got the mod chip and I modded it and hooked in. We got everything working so that we could play this this Dragon Ball Z game that my friend bought when he was overseas.
Wait, what?
Huh?
So the last sentence you said, I couldn't hear you well.
So my friend, when he was traveling overseas, he bought this Dragon Ball Z PlayStation game.
Okay.
And he brought it back. But we couldn't play it on a regular PlayStation.
But you could play it on your PlayStation.
Because it was region locked. So
but
you
yours
had to
wasn't region locked.
But after I modded it, that's why I got the mod chip and we hooked it up, was because we wanted to make it so that we could play that game that he brought back from his trip, that Dragon Ball Z game. So we modded the PlayStation. I got all the parts and we worked together to get it modded and everything so that we could play that.
That may have played a role also. Maybe the games that I got, they were like, above board-ish, but there was something with the region. I don't know what happened. I thought it was PAL and NTSC, but it could have been something else like you said. In any case, I needed to go to Chinatown and find suspicious people, but after they spent a little time with the machine, it was wonderful. It was just amazing, and I could play all the games I wanted. Honestly, though, I've said it before, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, that is a game, that I like. I don't know why people have different games that they enjoy. I really like Tony Hawk 1 and 2. I don't know. Until this day. I more recently, when I fiddled around with some like old, that kind of emulator, kind of console, whatever I had, retro gaming, and I played a bit of Tony Hawk, immediately got into it. I don't know why, like, it causes like a certain relaxation. Like I feel at peace with myself when I play Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh, no, absolutely. There is Tony Hawk, and there's other games that do this too, Bryce. What you're feeling, they refer to as flow, right? You sit down and you're kind of in it, And then it just you kind of slip into this state where like you're just sort of connected to the game, and you just make things happen, and it's that there's no resistance there, right? It's just like you're sort of you're moving through it and you're playing it, and yeah, there's so much enjoyment that comes when a game has really good flow, because you can just sit down and you can play it and you just get absorbed in it, and yeah, it's totally relaxing. I get exactly what you're saying. Right?
The thing is that prior to me playing Tony Hawk, I think maybe it was one of those games that, I was in Thailand and I said that there were a lot of games. It's probably a game that I wouldn't have bought if there wasn't a situation that I'm getting 30 games for the price of one or something, that which at the time was a big deal. Uh, Everything above board, of course.
Of
But
course.
I came back home, the mod, not mod, whatever was going on, and then I put in Tony Hawk. And initially, like, I didn't think much of it. I'm just like, I was just trying out the different games. Like, oh, yeah, there's some stupid game with a skateboard thing. I mean, I was okay with skateboard, and I knew who Tony Hawk was, but it's not like I was sitting around here dreaming about playing like a game about a skateboarding or anything like that. And then I played a few rounds, and I don't know, I just felt like I was really enjoying myself. And then friends came over, and I found myself sitting with friends and we kept just playing over and over again. And it started annoying me when friends were over because I wanted them to stop playing so that I can play.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like very strange. And you're like, I wish all these people would leave so that I could play Tony Hawk. Then you know that it really, you've connected to the game when you want everybody to go. You prefer the game than the friends than the company.
Absolutely. Yeah. For me, Price, back in the day, that was the Mega Man games. I
Oh,
could
I love
just
those.
sit
Love those.
there and just play those for hours and hours and hours. And when you really got into it, it was just like, oh, yeah, you're going through and so who was it? Read by Nature said, AKA in the zone, right? You're just sort of like you're just connected to it, and you can make everything happen just like you want it to happen in the game. And when that's happening, like, yeah, you just kind of let go, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, that the classic Mega Man games were that way. Uh, that's one thing a lot of people have said about Minecraft, at least in the earlier days of Minecraft when it was a simpler game. It's so much more complex now. But when it was a really simple game, it was like you just kind of disappeared into playing this game and mining and building and doing all of this stuff with it, right? It was, and so there was that flow to it that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really like it didn't connect with me in the same way. Like I know
Yeah.
people really like the Minecraft thing. It's fine. I don't know. It didn't have the same effect on me. But
No.
Tony Hawk was like completely great.
Oh
And
yeah, the Tony Hawk 2 especially. It was not a game that I played a ton of, but I definitely played Tony Hawk 2, and that game, like, classic to this day. In fact, they remade Tony Hawk 2. Did a re-release of that not long ago for all the modern consoles, cuz
it
yeah, that
looked
was
pretty cool, but I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna nothing I say is gonna sound good. First of all, I don't have the console that plays it because in recent years I haven't had time. So I don't have, like, I think they released it on PlayStation 5 or something. It looked great. It looked really impressive, but I don't have that console. I don't have that game, like the newer one. What I will say is they had like a commercial where I think they had like a transformer person added to the cast. Like they made little changes to make it more politically correct. There's no longer a situation where there's like an Indian driver because that's not nice. Do you get what I'm saying? Like they started changing things around to make it like more nice and more politically correct, adding like female skaters and all this stuff, like to be more like pleasant and more whatever. It's like I don't need any of this shit. If you're making the game, remaking the game, remake it. Do the same fucking game. Whatever it is that I liked, that's what you remake. Don't George Lucas me here, you know?
I think that was when they did the remake of the second Tony Hawk. That was one of the things that were like, it has to feel like the same game. Like you can't mess with it because with Tony Hawk 2,
They
like
made
it
some
just
changes, I'm telling I don't know, at least
yeah
with the first one, I still think they made some changes. To be honest, I would have to get the console and tell you if, like, this newer version is worth it. Maybe it is. It certainly looked nice, the graphic looked nice,
yeah.
but when that came out, it just gave me the feeling that I need to go play the original again, and then I went back and I played, like, 1 and 2, and even after all these years, I still felt great. There's games that until this day that if I, like, replay them, I'll still, like, feel good. Zelda. Everybody always talks about all these, like, "Oh, the Breath of the Wild, Karina of whatever." For me, like, The Legend of Zelda 1, like, the silly one, I there's still
Mm-hmm.
something I really like about it. I'm not saying I don't like the other ones. I've certain played other, Zelda games. There's something about the first one that, like, once it'll happen once every few years. I just put it on, and I'm gonna play that whole game, and I don't know, I just enjoy playing it. I know that, like, the graphics are primitive and whatever you wanna call it, and I absolutely really, really like that game, so what am I gonna do? I think I like 1, better than The Adventures of Link. I'm trying to think
Yeah,
the 3rd one, what's
the
the
one for
3rd
the
one
Super
called?
Nintendo was Legend of Zelda. Uh, oh no, I just forgot. Time, something about time. Oh
Ocarina of
man.
Time?
Oh no, Ocarina of Time was the one for the first one for the
A
N64.
Link to the Past
A
or
Link to
something
the
like that?
Past. That's it. Yeah, A Link to the Past. Yes. I can't believe I forgot that one. That one, I did enjoy the original Zelda's Link to the Past. Man, I don't know. There was something about the mechanics, the way that worked. Absolutely adore that game. It's so much fun. Loved it. Yeah,
Let me
but
see for a
the
second.
Ocarina of Time, yeah, I played that one. That one was fantastic. I played through that one multiple times because I played some of the remakes and stuff that they've done for. They made a remake for the 3DS years later, and then yeah, of course, and I've played the newer ones, the ones for Switch as well.
I'm trying to think which okay, this is, I think wait a second, I'm trying to find a file.
Oh, Whalem says you guys got into Guitar Hero? Question mark. Yeah, I played lots of Guitar Hero. I love rhythm games, so I played tons of Guitar Hero. I had all the original Guitar Hero games, and I had the Rock Band games with the different instruments. And then I still occasionally will go back and play Beatles Rock Band, which was only available for the PlayStation 3. Which I loved getting to play the Beatles songs. But of course, there's also Clone Hero, which is available for the PC and for the Mac for computers. That is a open source version of the Guitar Hero games. Yeah, I'd love a rhythm game.
I'll tell you what, I have to be honest with you. I didn't mind playing, like, those kind of Guitar Hero games, but only if I'm the singer. Because
Yeah.
for me, like, if I'm not really playing, like, a real guitar, it just doesn't feel right to me. Like, I wanna play the real guitar, I don't wanna play, like, the thing that you're pressing the buttons. So,
Sure. Yeah.
I understand that for some people that's a cool experience, but for me, it kind of feels weird. So, I don't really like it, almost like as a matter of principle. But, I do know that, like, this is the one, by the way, A Link to the Past, right?
Yes, this is the Super Nintendo one. Yeah.
Great game,
And
great game.
incredible game. Yeah. And one thing I absolutely, to this day, I love. You notice when you're playing the Super Nintendo that the music sounds different. The audio. Oh, that's loud. the music and the sound effects and everything are different than they are on, say, the Genesis or any of the other consoles of the time, and that's because these sound effects and the music that were generated, the audio processor in here is not doing the same thing that all of those other like FM sound generators were doing. All of the sounds that are in the sound processor are they're all generated from samples. And so the sound effects and the music and everything sounds so different on the Super Nintendo than it does on the other systems of the time. And I absolutely loved it. I loved the way they did the sound.
Yeah, first of all, I want to tell you that Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 I was really into.
Oh, so good. And the
Really?
music, oh my God. You want to talk about bit tunes? Like, I could listen to those bit tunes from those first 3 games. Some of the most impressive 8-bit music like ever
I agree.
done in those first 3 Mega Man games. Yeah.
Fantastic music those games had, and I
Incredible.
loved all 3 games. I don't know if they then had more. I kind of dropped off. But
Yeah, they did. They had more after that. They continued. Actually, they last of the mainline Mega Man games, I think, is Mega Man 11. I think they've kept making those regular 2D versions, but then they also had other like spin-off versions of the Mega Man games. So there was the Mega Man X series, which was like in a different timeline. It was more extreme Mega Man, and then there was a long-running Mega Man Battle Network series, which was a little bit different. It was a little bit different style of game that was very popular, but it had a different gameplay style. But yeah, I still go back and play those original those first 3 Mega Man games all the time. They are some of the best of the Mega Man games that are out there. But yeah, some of the newer 2D ones that they've made, I played, I think it was Mega Man 9, I think, came out for the PlayStation 3. It's really solid. It was a great entry. It was basically the same kind of gameplay from those original games, but with like updated HD graphics, right? So it's really fun.
Sounds pretty cool. I would be willing to give that a try sometime.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I'd enjoy it. Somebody mentioned Castlevania.
Oh yes.
I had Castlevania 1, Castlevania 2 for sure. I'm trying to think if I had Castlevania 3, I feel like that existed.
It did.
But I remember having 1 and 2. 3, I guess I had 3.
There are many, many Castlevania titles. They continue to make those, and they've had a great formula for making those. They tried moving that Castlevania into being like 3D, and it never really worked. But the 2D version, I say it didn't work. The games were fine. I just didn't think they had the same character as the 2D versions. But yeah, it's funny you're mentioning Mega Man because recently like I said, I got that console. Been playing some PlayStation games. One of them I was playing was one that I loved from the original PlayStation era. I still have it, but it had been a long time since I played it, so I picked that up and was playing. Was a game called Mega Man Legends, which had a couple of sequels to it, but it was not the original Mega Man. It wasn't the 2D Mega Man. It's more of a 3D adventure, and it happens in a different sort of storyline than the original Mega Man. And the controls, they're a little rough, but as many of the controls were. I mean, like if you go back and play the original Tomb Raider, like you're like, oh my God, these controls suck. But the game is still a lot of fun, right? It's just like, wow, this is how it was playing a game back in the mid 90s. But you get used to it. But yeah,
absolutely.
That's one that I've actually finished playing a playthrough of it yesterday, because I have, like I said, last time I played it was quite some time ago. Oh, I see. We have Rebecca Gold in the chat. Hey there, Ian.
Oh, how's it going, Ian? I mean, has Rebecca Gold already officially come out? I only asked because I've already seen it, so I don't know when the official release date is, but I really enjoyed it. So I hope other people.
He did the premiere, and then I know he shared it with some of some of the backers for the film and some other privileged individuals. But I don't know what the if it's gotten a release yet for everyone.
Well, I saw it and I enjoyed it, so
Yes, as
it's
did
not
I.
like nobody can
Did
take
enjoy
that
it.
away from me. But I don't know if like the general public got to see it. This even just watching this Tony Hawk, this is I could sit around and do this thing in this warehouse all day. There's nothing more relaxing than doing this warehouse thing with Tony Hawk. I absolutely love being in the warehouse. It feels like, you know, I think that one of the biggest achievements of this game is that it was maybe the first instance in a game that I felt so much that I was really there doing this. The way that it's presented to you, like with him in the air and the whole feeling, I just feel like I'm in the air. I don't know if that sounds weird.
No, I get it. Yeah, this like I said, it's a fun game. It wasn't like my jam. I played it and I had a friend who was really into it. I had played it some and he was showing me how to do different moves and stuff like that. I get it. Like, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
This is it. This is like, you know.
But yeah, him just like, just hours and hours and hours just rolling around in a room doing tricks. You know, I was like, okay, cool. Have fun.
So fun.
And then I went back to playing Final Fantasy VII.
You know, I played like the original Final Fantasy, the one that the first one that they had for the Nintendo.
I still have my cartridge of the original Final Fantasy for the original Nintendo. Yeah, I've played through that probably at least twice. Probably again, I played through. I think they later on they like re-released some of those games like with upgraded like cutscenes and stuff like that for the PlayStation and Game Boy Advance and stuff like that. So I think I've played through it at least once with one of those like updates.
This is interesting. This is showing, I guess, the comparison between the original and what they did with the remastering.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty cool, the remastering. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could get used to it if I needed to. It's not bad. It doesn't look bad. There's the original, you know, had a certain charm to it. I know that like the one on the right looks a lot more fancy and all that stuff, but I still say that the original had a certain charm to it. Like the hand was weird and everything.
The hands are all like little like
they all look like smushy and weird, but that's what kind of added to the charm of the original.
Exactly. Yeah, it was like you were doing what you could with the limited resources of what you had in the
I love it.
In the PlayStation.
I think that there's a part of me that probably loves like the original with the smushy hands. But if you were to give me the new one, I'd play the new one. It looks like, you know, it looks reasonable.
Yeah, man. There's just the truth is there's just not all that much new worth playing. And then you got to dodge all the, you know, current day politics and gender crap and everything they shove into all the games. It's just like, maybe I'll just go back and play the really good games from the 90s instead.
You know, sometimes you don't need the best graphics or the best anything.
Absolutely not.
You have a game with a lot of heart, and sometimes that's better than anything else.
It's got a good story. It's got good gameplay. It's got nice flow. Yeah, you can sit down. You can get into it. You can relax and have fun with it. You don't have to worry about any of the other BS that you have to worry about wading through in, you know, newer games. Yeah, why would you?
Right. Yeah, this is a game that you probably couldn't play because of all the music. You know, you did like there's songs here that are
You know, I think that was one of the, if I remember, that was one of the things that they focused on was they were saying that they needed to have like the whole original soundtrack in there when they were trying to do the remake of it. And I think they got just about everything.
By the way, do they have an issue when you play Zelda? Is that like soundtrack an issue when you play it, or do they?
Oh, like if you were playing Zelda on like a stream or something?
Yeah.
Nintendo has been known to be real assholes when it comes to gameplay being shown on streams. I don't know why. It's literally free advertising for your game, but Nintendo is well known for being
Even
real...
like now that we played this old game for like decades ago, you think they're gonna?
Yep. They can be real dicks about coming in and trying to demonetize your streams and stuff like that. If you're doing a gameplay, doing a let's play with a Nintendo.
Think we'll get in trouble for
title.
that clip that I put that thing?
No, I don't think we get in trouble for the clip.
I really lowered the volume significantly, but there were a few seconds I was playing the music.
Nah, I think you're fine. It's not the music that they get upset with. They just say like, oh, it's our IT. Or our IT. It's our IP, and you're not allowed to, show it or whatever without permission. And they're just dicks.
Yeah, gaming stuff says, let's be honest, Nintendo has been known for being copyright assholes in general.
This is true. They are that.
That's not nice. They should allow me to play all these games, and what do they care?
Well, and then they hold on to titles and stuff for years at a time, even though people are like basically like, oh, there's a game I can't play anymore because your console is old and broken. And, so I own this. So I should be able to just put it into an emulator and play it because I own a copy of it. And then they're like, no, you can't do that. That's evil. If you want to play that game, you'll have to buy it from us again whenever we decide to publish it on a different console, even though we don't right now. And lately, Nintendo's also gotten to be real assholes about the pricing of their stuff. They've been pushing the pricing up on their games for the Switch 2. And they've also dropped what was their best program, what sold tons of classic titles to people over the years, was that they sold their software, and when it was new, they sold it for new prices. And then after they had hit certain numbers and hit certain time periods, they stepped back and they launched their classic titles. So you had a Nintendo 64 game. It had been out for a couple of years. It had really, it had sold all it was going to sell through in the market at its full price. And they said, we're going to launch this classic title. So instead of costing $60, it costs $30. And then they would sell that to a lot of customers because then they would be interested in buying it, at that price. Now they don't do that. They don't have a classic line of games that ever gets its prices lowered. You rarely find anything of theirs on sale. And then now that they're trying to push everything into digital, they literally just want to be able to charge you $80 for everything forever. And then they're going to make you buy a new copy of it. If you have an extra console, you can't share it between consoles. They've gotten to be real assholes in this stuff.
Sounds very greedy.
Makes me mad. Yeah, it's extremely greedy because I like Nintendo. I like their games. My kids like their games, but man, it's awfully hard to give business to a company that is, that's treating you that poorly as a customer, Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
At least Nintendo, for the most part, has avoided all the ridiculous like microtransactions and trash like that. So I mean,
Wait
that's
a second.
something.
I'm not going to lie to you. I think that the warehouse in the first one looked cooler than this. If this is, I don't know. I mean, sometimes a game has silly graphics, but there's still a kind of charm to it. I still find a way to enjoy the new one, but the original, I don't know.
I wish I could play the Whale 03 says I wish I could play the old Darkstalkers game. I used to play that with my cousin who passed away. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, the Darkstalkers games, those were a lot of fun. I am still a huge fighting game fan. Love fighting games all the way from first playing Street Fighter 2 in the arcade, the original Street Fighter 2. Huge fighting game fan. And I had a buddy of mine, kind of lost contact over the years, but we were roommates for a while, and we would play fighting games for hours and hours and hours. And we would play Street Fighter. We would play not so much Mortal Kombat. We played like Tekken 3.
Tekken 3, man.
We played
Tekken
a bunch
3
of
was great.
a bunch of the Capcom fighters. Still to this day, I absolutely love the original Marvel superheroes versus Capcom games. Or Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter. Sorry, that was later. It was Marvel versus Capcom. But yeah, the first one, Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter, so much fun. Oh, love those fighting games like that. Darkstalkers was a really interesting property because it was Street Fighter, but it was with monster characters like Dracula and the Succubus and the Mummy and stuff like that. Yeah, it was classic. It was really huge in Japan. It did okay here, but they were really, really big in Japan. Where
Tekken 3 was fantastic.
Tekken 3 was so much fun. We played that for so many hours.
Yeah, I played that with my friends, as opposed to the Tony Hawk one where I wanted to play by myself and wanted them to leave.
Yeah.
Tekken 3 was a fun one to play against other people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We played the hell out of the Tekken 3 port for the PlayStation, for the original PlayStation. So much fun.
Yeah, that was a good one. By the way, there was still something that there were actually a few things we didn't discuss.
Yeah,
First of all,
we can cover a couple other things.
we went into a deep dive.
Yeah, we're just talking about retro games. Let's talk about things we like, since we're gonna have to talk about Starfleet Academy on Thursday.
Well, that's true. What was it?
James Gunn.
Yeah, so there's this stupid thing where basically, let me share this. 1 second. So there's this rumor that was started basically by John Campea. Now, John Campea is a weirdo and a shill, and I've never been a fan of his. I don't like what he does. There's always some weird agenda. At the same time, I can't take away the fact that John Campea is a shill that's like in the mix. He's had meetings and interviews with the likes of like James Gunn and Kevin Feige. So he knows how to get like some info from those circles. Now, according to him, he's claiming that James Gunn, the second that Ellison and Paramount take over, he's going to want to quit. And that's supposedly coming from John Campea. He was saying, I didn't hear this from James Gunn, but I'm just saying that that's what I think will happen. I personally, even though this sounds like it would be interesting, and the other thing is that after that happens, he's going to go and become like the heir to Kevin Feige at Marvel. Now, in my personal opinion, I think that James Gunn, even if he doesn't like the Ellisons, he's going to finish his movie. He's working on The Man of Tomorrow. I think it's currently in production. Unless Ellison comes by and says, listen, I'm canceling that movie. You're not going to film a frame of it. There's no Man of Tomorrow. That's done. Only then I would think that, he's going to wrap up. There'll be like Lanterns and Supergirl, and he's going to be out of there. But and maybe they'll find a way to part ways. But if they're letting him do Man of Tomorrow, I don't think that he's going to go and suddenly quit earlier. You never know. Anything is possible. But I think that he'll at least stick around for a bit longer if he's making Man of Tomorrow. What do you think?
I just don't know about this stuff anymore. There's so many rumors flying. James Gunn, I don't see him having a future at Marvel either, frankly. I mean, what is he going to do? Make another Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
Yeah, I think the Gunn is done. I don't know. I think that you need a new visionary for both DC and Marvel. For me, James Gunn was never the guy for DC. That's quite honest.
I
He
don't think he gets the characters at all.
No, he doesn't.
I don't think he understands them even slightly.
I don't think he does. I think that he was never a good fit for DC. For Marvel, there were certain quirky things he could do. I wouldn't give him the reins of like full Marvel. I don't know who I would give it the reins to at this point, but I think that both DC and Marvel need a change. That's for sure.
Well, we're
And
the
maybe even a
Gun.
break. Maybe you just
Yeah.
stop making these movies for a few years and let people miss them, and then bring a normal team of people
Oh
and
yeah.
make them, but not shitty.
They don't need to get rid of James Gunn and then turn around and do another Superman movie with another actor in 5 years. They need to just let it rest. You know what? Yeah, sure. Figure out what you want to do with Batman or Wonder Woman or whatever. Sit down and write some stories, plan some stuff out, actually have scripts ready, have an idea, an arc for the story that you want to try and tell in the universe. Do all of that stuff. Make sure it's good. And then get back into the theaters. If all you're going to do is just slap it together haphazardly, and you're not going to really make these films actually work together, you're not going to have the characters that actually have chemistry, then what's the point? It's just, and again, what's James Gunn going to do? If you go to this universe or that universe, you go to this studio, that studio, he seems to have one play, and that's remaking Guardians of the Galaxy again.
That's all he's got. He can only make that movie again and again.
I hate to say that. He's made some good films. He's made some stuff that's been very enjoyable, but it just seems like he's locked into that. This is the success formula.
He's a one-trick pony.
Yeah, I take these characters and I make them sort of lovable failures, and then I throw a bunch of quirky lines in here, and there's an action scene with some music on it, and cute animal, cute character, and then just let it play. And then we'll have a classic song. We'll have a classic song over the last scene of the movie, classic rock song or something. It's I just don't want to see that anymore. I'm tired of it. I've seen every iteration of it, James. I don't want to see another one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I guess there's nothing really he can do. But yeah, I don't know how realistic is that tomorrow he's going to quit. For starters, don't forget the Paramount. They're not going to be in charge tomorrow. This is going to take a while with regulatory approval, with committees. I don't think before half a year to a year that Warner Brothers even steps in here. And that's if everything goes smoothly with like letting the deal go through. Let's say that happens. I could be wrong, but I don't see them like popping in and taking over tomorrow. I think that there's going to be a little bit of time, right?
Yeah, it's going to take a little time for them to make some adjustments and changes.
So, but his contract ends in spring 2027, so basically a year, and it's going to take them, between half a year to a year to take like real control of this company. He could just finish his movies and do whatever, and say, "Well, this was my Superman saga." He can make a movie that sort of ties up whatever garbage he was making. If you know what I mean.
Yep. It does sound like, too, that it's already sort of been set aside. There's not going to be any plans for a third season of Peacemaker.
There is no chance that they're investing more money in Peacemaker. Peacemaker 2 was an absolute disaster when it comes to the ratings.
Yep. So there's no real plans for that. And then he's got what? He's got the next Superman movie. And then he's hired a terrible screenwriter to do his Batman Brave and the Bold.
I think that the whole Brave and the Bold has always seemed to me like blowing smoke up people's ass. That one seems like the least likely to get done. I don't know.
Just vaporware. There's just they're working on it, and it's never actually gonna become anything. Like basically 90% of everything that's been announced by Lucasfilm
He's
over
like
the past
Kathleen
decade.
Kennedy at this point. Yes.
Yeah, it's just they're making it to say they're making it, and then eventually it'll get canceled. Yeah, I can buy that.
He's in the Kathleen Kennedy stage of his career.
Just announce a whole bunch of stuff, and then we can cancel it later.
I love how nobody ever called her out on it. Nobody, none of the industry trades, nothing. Nobody. She never says anything. She stood there and announced all these projects for years. Nothing happened with them. She's, it says something about her leadership, but nobody wants to say it. Like, they'll continue to say that she's the best forever. By the way, what was I going to ask? Did you see that Paramount had a plan for what it was going to do with Warner Brothers? I briefly saw this today. I don't remember now. Did you happen to catch any of that?
I saw a little bit of it. Let's see. Somebody in the chat was talking about Katamari Damacy, so I had to let them know that I love Katamari Damacy. Did you ever play that one, Price? That was on PlayStation 2.
Didn't
the
play
first
it.
one.
I had a PlayStation 2, but I didn't play it.
Yeah, the Katamari Damacy was, of course, it's actually still around. They just released a new one for a bunch of the new current consoles just a few months ago. Might have been right before Christmas or right after. But it's this bizarro Japanese game where you have you're this tiny little character called the Prince of Space, and you roll around a ball and it sticks to everything it touches. And so you start very small, like sticking to tiny things like ants and checkers and bits of candy and stuff like that. And then as the ball gets bigger, you expand, and then your scale changes in the world that you're in. And so then you can start picking up bigger things. And then it just keeps doing that, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you have a time limit to see how quickly you can roll up these things in your little world. It's such a bizarre, quirky idea. When it first came out, I was reading about it in a magazine, or maybe it was a website back, and I was like, this sounds so bizarre. So I picked up a copy of it and just fell in love with it. It's one of those just sort of strange, bizarre games that is just so charming. You can't not have fun with it. Let's see. We talking about the Warner Brothers thing. I saw a story earlier.
Let me see if I saw something.
I saw they're gonna remake Treasure Island as a TV series for Paramount Plus. Guess which character they race swapped?
Robinson Crusoe?
Yes. No. The main character, Long John Silver.
Sorry, what was Robinson Crusoe? Why did I confuse this?
I mean, it's
a late hour.
Yeah,
What's
Island
Robinson
thing,
Crusoe? Yeah. I'm sorry. Remind me now.
Oh, Robinson Crusoe, isn't that they crash on an island?
Oh.
There's an island involved.
You said Treasure Island. Come on, man. It's a late hour. You said an island. Yeah. I attached it to the other guy. I know it's not a good look, but
yeah, Robinson Crusoe, an Englishman is shipwrecked on an island. Yeah. But yeah, the Treasure Island, sort of the original, the classic pirate adventure, right? They're gonna remake that as a TV show, but they're gonna have a black Long John Silver.
I was close enough when I said it was Robinson Crusoe, because what I was trying to say is that the main guy is going to be swapped. It's just I swapped the properties in my mind, but
yeah.
The idea was there that they're replacing the main guy. That was the bottom line.
Yeah.
By the way, it's interesting you talk about islands after you told me that about
the Island Man. Yeah. Didn't have any news about Island Man or his special PDF files this evening. No.
The Adventure of the Adventures
The
of Island Man and
the
his PDF
adventures
files. Instead of like Indiana Jones and the
of
Temple of Doom, it would be
the
like Island Man and the PDF files. Okay, Island Man and the lost PDF files. I'm sorry. That's funny. That's actually quite funny.
the redacted PDF files.
Exactly.
So anyway, as they've talked about some of their plans. I'm not finding the article that I saw earlier today that was talking about some of the plans that they have, but they have said basically like they want to do like 30 movies a year from the two different studios. And yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say. They talked about how you don't want them to get all your cookies. You don't want to put all the cookies on your computer.
No, I was trying to get rid of them. So they're going to combine HBO Max and Paramount Plus into one streaming service after a merger. I think that would be dumb if they did that. Are you sure that that's what they want to do?
It's one less thing to pay for. I'll say that much. But at the same time, they're probably going to raise the price to $30 a month or something. So
probably. But Ellison said he wouldn't disrupt the HBO brand. HBO should stay HBO. Well, if you're going to merge it, how does it stay HBO?
Well, he's saying that like HBO still gets to sort of make the shows it wants to make and produce the content it wants to produce. It would just be making content for their platform. It would still have the HBO brand, but yeah.
Oh, Bill Gates apologizes, admits to 2 affairs in Camden Town Hall. I don't know he's. I don't think that's really the problem. I don't really know the details, but I feel like his problems are probably bigger than him having an affair with a woman that he's no longer married to.
We know why he's not married to his first wife anymore.
I think that, the reason why she left him, that's probably a bigger problem here than him admitting that he cheated on her, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Brought back the classic mistake of the cheater. He brought back an STD and gave it to her.
No, and the thing is that he was trying to secretly give her antibiotics so she wouldn't notice. That is such a bad look.
So
I don't
wrong.
know. I don't know if they found him saying that or it was one of those weird Island Man emails. Nevertheless, it's a very bad look. He seemed to really like Island Man, if you know what I'm saying.
They were good friends.
They seemed like good buddies. I mean, I don't know. The thing is that we look at these files and there's so many names in there. I don't think that everybody had the same level of friendship and hanging out, logged in as many hours of hanging out with him as other people.
Yeah.
It seems like some people were more chummy with him than others.
Indeed, yes. There were some people who were a lot more interested in hanging out with him and traveling with him to various places, taking up his hospitality on the island of Island Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Island Man had a lot of people visit his island.
Yes.
They were island people who enjoyed visiting.
Flew on his very special island plane.
Very special island. What did somebody write? Yo, no way, Island Man. What did we say? I loved. I don't love it, but I'm saying like Island Man in the Lost PDF files is good. That one really is good. By the way, there was a game called Adventure Island, which was basically Wonder Boy, but then they made it for the Nintendo Entertainment System. But they couldn't call it Wonder Boy because that was a Sega game, so they called it Adventure Island. And I never understood how they pulled that off. How did somebody not sue? Like, It must have been the same company that had the same game, and they just made one for Nintendo and one for Sega and called it different things. But I feel like somebody would sue them for like some kind of exclusivity clause. No.
No, I don't think there was exclusivity. So those were both made by Hudson Soft, who, interestingly enough, they actually with the TurboGrafx 16 was their console. It was always sold under another name, but Hudson Soft is actually the one that developed all the original hardware and everything for it. But yeah, they had the Wonder Boy games, and then they took a lot of the same engine and a lot of the same gameplay, and where the original game had Wonder Boy, the protagonist for the Adventure Island games was renamed Master Higgins.
It's so weird. As a kid, I never
different
understood
arts.
this because
Yeah.
I knew people with Sega and I had a Nintendo, and I never understood why they would have like how somebody would allow this to happen.
Yeah. It was just a matter of the rights that they had. Like I said, it was the same company that made both games. Eventually, actually, the Wonder Boy games changed. They weren't the same type of platformer. They took the Adventure Island games, and they were the platforming games that you had, and then the Wonder Boy games eventually changed into more of like an RPG kind of a thing.
Here's back to back. They're showing you like the different versions. I would be, if I was like Sega or whichever. I think first it appeared on Sega and then later.
Yeah,
on,
well, Wonder Boy came out first, a couple years before.
I would have sued them if I'm like Sega. I'm suing these guys. I'm like, screw you.
Again, I don't think there was anything they could sue for. It was the same. It was basically
Dude,
the same
game.
publisher.
This is just rotten.
But it was the same publisher that made it.
Right. That's the problem. Although I will say that I kind of liked Adventure Island's, gameplay better.
Yeah.
I don't really know why.
Part of it, I think, had to do with they evolved the control for the character a little bit, and so the actual physics of like moving him through the world felt a little bit more solid. But yeah, I always enjoyed the Adventure Island games. They're always very simple, very straightforward, kind of fun thing.
Yeah,
not too much like thinking, puzzle solving kind of thing. You went through. You just kind of played it, and
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, if
simple
you
platformer.
As somebody that liked Mario, I really liked this game because this was kind of like it was
very,
a Mario,
very
but a
Mario-like
bit different.
platformer.
Had a different vibe to it. So I still think it's like I would have sued if I'm one of these companies. I would have sued. I'm like, no way you're doing like a port to this other system and calling it something else. It's too similar, it's too much. Unless they just didn't have an exclusivity clause, and in that case, maybe their only clause was that they couldn't use the same name, so they took advantage of it. This looks like some lawyers sat around and thought, how do we stick it to them? Give it to like Nintendo as well, but then we like avoid any legal action.
Hey, 30% different.
30% different. Barely. It's barely 30%.
Just gotta make it just different enough that it's not the same game that you released on a different console, and then there you go.
I guess so. Interesting though. People are probably like, why are they looking at Adventure Island and Wonder Boy at 2:41 a.m. Eastern? I don't really have a good answer to that, but I don't know. I liked Adventure Island. I'm not gonna lie to you. I liked Wonder Boy too, but it's like you said. I think by the time few years went by, and by the time they got to Adventure Island, they kind of fixed some issues.
Well, Wonder Boy, I mean, but that was an arcade release, so the ones that came out for the consoles were a different style of game. But yeah, with Adventure Island, that developed. Actually, man, the first Adventure Island I ever played was not on the NES. I played it on my friend's Game Boy. He had the Game Boy version of Adventure Island. But,
yeah, they used to have that where they'd have like a crappier version of the game for Game Boy.
But actually, the game's really, really well done on the Game Boy. Actually,
Never played it.
It's a very, very good port of the game. And in fact, in some ways, it's maybe just a little bit superior to the NES version, except of course just being in 16 colors of gray. But it was a really solid, fun port.
Now I feel like playing all these games.
Whalem says you had a Turbo Graphics. I did not have a Turbo Graphics. I had a friend. So growing up, I had a friend of mine. I wasn't somebody I hung out with a lot as we got older, but his dad ran or owned a huge I don't know what you'd call it, like a chain of gas stations. He had money coming out of his ears, and his son was an only child, so he bought his son everything the kid ever wanted in his life. Thankfully, he wasn't actually like a spoiled asshole of a kid. He was always nice. In fact, one of the most accomplished martial artists I've ever known. He was really got into martial arts later in his life. But his dad basically bought him everything he ever wanted. Yeah, like if there was a toy, you're like, oh, I saw that on TV, I wanted that. He had it. Like he had everything, and he had a Turbo Graphics. I got to play on his Turbo Graphics a couple of times, and it was yeah, it was okay. It was a very compromised system for what it could do. There's a few great games on there, and there's other things like China Warrior, which is one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. Have you ever seen China Warrior, Price?
I don't think I have. No.
Just since you're there on YouTube, search China Warrior.
Okay.
Turbo Graphics.
I'm doing
it. It's one of the worst games you've ever seen. There you go, Turbo Graphics 16.
Okay.
It's so awful. It's just one of the worst things I've ever played. It's one of those that's like, it's so bad, like you play it because it's awful. Like
it looks pretty stupid, yeah.
And whoever's playing this has obviously played this a whole lot because they know exactly where all the little things are going to come from, so they can kick the little birds and stuff in all the right spots.
Such a weird game.
But it's like you don't power up, you don't gain additional abilities. You literally, your character walks and he punches and kicks. Like there is no progression in the game, no changes, nothing.
Well, at least there's a fight here. It's better than nothing, I guess. It's kind of lame,
fighting,
but yeah,
Jesse Ventura or something, right?
Kind of looks like that's what they were going for, yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You got anything else, Bryce? You got anything else to talk about tonight, or are we ready to call it?
I think we're ready to call it. If you have the list of people, I'm ready to say their names.
Here is the list from our friends over on Rumble.
Rumble, we have Phantom Monk, Darren Mai, Kivo 1961, Elizabeth Quince, Double R Star, You Wrong, Folsom Lockdown, Dude Roast F 420, Angelo DD, B-Roll Stage, and Gaming Stuff.
All right. And over on YouTube, got a bunch of people have joined us in the chat today. 42 people. Bryce. Let's see. I have no dick. Or excuse me, I have no dick.
I feel like we haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, haven't seen him for a while. Glad to have you back. Mark S47, Lasher, Parrot Heads. Feel free to think. Valiant Goat, Jim Noxious, Adrian Fight, Isaac 556X45, Eject a Curtain, Mephisto, Dragonwise, Spiderface 1, Mob 19001, ETS to ATS Trucker Martin 527. I'm not picking that one out with the out. It's two at Trucker Martin. Okay, well, I got it wrong, Trucker, but I tried. Polar Bear, Mark D with a C, Rebecca Gold, Istphobos, Glade Riven, Samsung, Ron Donafero, Jonathan Conroy, Darren M, Captain Zoom, Hoot Owl, Mur Rockstro, The Real Head Case, E. Clay Thomason, Yitis, Ilord Corey, Cider Feet, Kodo Rob, Whalem 03, Badfoot, Karate Werewolf, Magnificent 7, Adam Gray, Tomahawk 511, The Dead Man, and Dutch Gradient. Thank you all for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thank you. So now that I guess we've covered everything and we had our thank yous and we went over all this stuff and the super chats and we talked about a lot of different issues today. I think this
and then just went into video game nostalgia for a while. But whatever.
We go with the flow.
That's it exactly. Go with the flow.
And that's a good thing to do in the middle of the night. And yeah, always a pleasure hanging out with you guys. It's what makes this whole experience fun for us. And of course, thank you for the professor who was here as always. And
was I? I guess I was here most of the time anyway.
You're usually here. Almost always.
Oh, I was just talking about tonight. I think I was here most of the time.
Oh, I'm barely here. Now the hour is starting to creep up on me, but I am so thankful for you being here, for all the people in the chat being here. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed yet, you came from one of my other channels, make sure to subscribe. And regardless, I guess we'll see you all here on Thursday on the Night Owl, because it's every Tuesday and Thursday, 11:45 p.m. Eastern. Is there anything you want to add before we leave, Professor?
Oh, well, I guess no. We'll be back here on Thursday, probably suffering through some more Star Trek.
Absolutely. I still haven't finished my review for this week.
I can't blame you, man. If you saw, you've seen like this entire season. Disparu has been pumping those reviews. Like they're out like
I don't know how he does it. Honestly,
a day after. It took him 5 days to put out his review this time because it's just so terrible.
There's nothing for me to say about it. It's so awful. It's like I like making videos where maybe I can tell a few funny jokes or something. There's really it's so awful. That's really what I felt about it. But I am working on it. I'm going to try to post it tomorrow. It really was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to review. And I think that they're just getting warmed up. I think that episode 9 and 10 are probably going to be worse.
I mean, here's the thing. At the least, I hope, Price, that we get, there's more to actually talk about. There's actually something that happens. Even if it's terrible, something actually happens in the next couple of episodes. Because I think that's why this last one was so rough, because nothing happens. It's
just a piece
of garbage. It's sort of there.
It's awful.
Oh, we got one last super chat just dropped in here.
Let me
from Jason Webster here. I'll just share the screen real quick, and that way we can do it here. Let me find this tab. That's not it. Where did you go? Well, I thought I could just share the tab. Now it wants to hide from... Oh, it's all the way at the bottom of my list. That's why. All right. Oh, from Jason Webster for $5 Australian. Thank you. We all could do with a merciful end to our agony with a discontinuation of Kurtzman Trek. You are correct. Yeah. We'll see how soon we get that reprieve. I am convinced that there's not a chance he's going to get a contract. That all of the stuff that's been talked about, people saying, no, there's a contract, it's coming, whatever, that all of that is just nonsense. that it's just them trying to maybe try to get people to boost and back up Kurtzman and getting a new contract. I don't think it's happening. I think that they can see the writing on the wall, where before they might have been able to convince themselves that Kurtzman was maybe doing something unique and worthwhile with Trek when he was doing Discovery and then Strange New Worlds. After the abysmal failure of Section 31 and the outright just laughably awful series that has been what they've done with Starfleet Academy, I don't think there's a chance in hell he gets a renewal. I think him and his group are done. And there's been some indications, some rumors that have come out from everybody over there at Paramount that they're already making plans to
I really hope that's the case.
To decanonize everything that's Kurtzman.
For me, that'll be a real sign that like David Ellison is really there to do something. If he suddenly comes out and it turns out he's sweeping this whole thing under the rug, this whole Kurtzman era, and looking to do something better, I will at least understand that somebody's trying to do something good. I really hope that's the case, but we'll have to see. I'll believe it when I see it.
I was watching Star Trek V over on Trev Retro's channel as they were reviewing that and going, remember when we thought Star Trek V was as bad as Star Trek could get?
At the time it was, but I understand now that it's like, it's the best compared to anything Kurtzman related.
Share your pain with me and gain strength from the sharing. Okay, Price. That's it. Let's call it a night. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Okay.